Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Ja Morant, and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, John Tortorelli, and Dehls. This is now episode 290. In this episode, Pierre will join us to do a 2023 NBA mock draft for the first round. Then after, we're going to talk about Bradley Beal getting traded to the Suns, notable players to decline player options, and Ja Morant's suspension. How are we doing, Pee-wee?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. I'm always happy to be here. My favorite time of the year, the draft, free agency right around the corner. Y'all coming to Vegas. We going to be in Vegas. Live show in Vegas July 9th. So we're going to be able to chop it up, finally meet y'all, do some extracurricular things, live it up.
We about to be live.
It's a long time coming. We've been planning this for a while.
And what better place than Vegas, where it's going to be 106 degrees.
Now it's about to be dumb hot.
You got to get to Summer League game one with a day one pass, a day two pass.
Yep.
You know, it's great. It's a great thing that Victor is going to be playing. We're going to be able to watch him front row.
We're about to watch history. But P, talk to me, man. Through the wire, world tour.
Yeah.
I know it's not a world tour, but talk to me, man. How's that been going, bro?
It's been going good, man. First two stops went well. Philadelphia, Miami. We got Vegas. We got Toronto. We got Houston. We got to go to Denver since they won a championship. Isaiah Thomas invited us to come to his Zekian, which is in Seattle. That's in August as well. We got some stuff to do in Atlanta in a couple weeks. So we booked, we busy, but you know, I'd rather have it no other way, man. I just can't wait for Vegas though, to meet y'all. Summer League, y'all coming to day one, which is the most important day to come. That's the most important day to come. After that, everything else kind of fizzles out. So I'm glad y'all gonna be there for day one. And like I said, we can link and get shit popping.
We might have to finally play some hoops too, man. We got to find some time to play basketball.
It's quiet.
Bro, you haven't been working.
No, it's just not the time for that, man. It's Vegas.
Bro, there's going to be how many hours that day?
It's going to be 106 degrees.
No, what I will say is I am going to agree with Riv because Summer League makes you value time differently because that should be starting at 11. You don't leave until it's like 6, 7. And then before you know it, you out in the streets and it's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And you coming back and it's wee hours of the morning. So yeah, you don't have as much time as you think because Summer League starts a lot earlier than it feels when you're watching it.
All right.
I can't wait to eat the food out there.
It's all right.
Don't get your hopes up.
It's all right. It's all right. It's nothing crazy.
I've seen Keith Lee review a bunch of food spots in Vegas.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. Now that he has the reviews, it'll probably be, you know, you can find the spots, but just on some touristy type stuff, in and out, that shit weak.
Facts.
So now, before we get started on the mock draft, a quick announcement because I forgot to do it earlier. We're going to be dropping merch, and this is what our merch will be looking like: the shirt, shorts, and hat. We will be dropping 2 colors first, black and white. So those will be the 2 colors, but we are dropping it soon. We're getting it all worked out on, but this is how it's going to look, this set.
Tough.
Pick a side. Y'all make sure y'all have an extra large in y'all suitcase when y'all come to Vegas.
We got you.
Now, getting started on the NBA mock draft, I have Fanspo on here, and John, can you pull up the shared screen?
Yes, sir. I've already got it, sure. Oh, wait, no. I think you have to do it on your end, right? Because if you're going to pull up on Fanspo,
I got it. You're good.
I got it.
So this how it's going to go. I got the first pick, John second, Drew third, Pee-wee the 4th pick, Riv the 5th pick, picking for his Detroit Pistons, favorite team in the NBA right now.
My fifth.
So now the first team, let's get it out the way. The first pick, Victor Wembanyama. We don't got to speak too much about that. Although I will say I saw clips of his JJ Redick interview, very mature for his age.
I love to hear that.
Makes me feel much more comfortable in his success in the NBA.
I saw some dude get and it'd be so funny. I think he's going, but it'd be hilarious if Victor doesn't go first and the dude got a whole tattoo of Victor on his head and then he gets somebody else. I would love to just see that happen. And he just sitting there like, damn.
Don't be mean, bro.
Nah, that's funny. Like he got he got a bald head and just a tattoo of Victor right on his head. It's like, damn, bro.
He's wild for that.
He's wild. I wouldn't do that person.
I understand.
Not on the head.
So second overall pick, John, you're up next.
I'm interested to hear this.
Pee-wee, we're doing things the right way, man. First off, shout out to Dehls. I'm just here for the mock draft, but Dehls is in the building. I'm also here to make the right decision because I'm afraid the Hornets aren't. It's a no-brainer, man. In today's day and age, you need multiple ball handlers The Hornets point guard LaMelo is a great 3-point shooter, excellent playmaker, but he doesn't put pressure on the rim. He's not a good finisher. Pair him up with Scoot Henderson. Everything that LaMelo needs to improve is everything Scoot does at an incredible level. He's 6'4", shoes on, incredible wingspan. If Dennis Smith Jr. became an elite defender last year as Steve Clifford, I believe Scoot Henderson can too. And he's too good of a prospect to pass up at number 2. It's easy, man.
Alrighty.
Good work.
Number 3, Portland Trailblazers. We did our mock draft on Bleacher Report. I took Brandon Miller to be safe. I got slight pushback. And as I've had a little bit more time to thinking about what the Trailblazers are going to do and reports are going on, Damian Lillard saying that, hey, if y'all don't trade that 3rd pick, you're going to trade me because I need someone that I could go to war with. I need that counterpart, and you guys have to trade that 3rd pick to go get someone. So it allows me to still think that one of these teams are going to come in. It's between Brandon Miller and Amen Thompson, in my opinion. But I'm gonna stay consistent. I'm gonna go the safe route. It's got to be Brandon Miller at that 3 spot.
Great pick.
I was really thinking you were about to go with the man Thompson.
See, you got to make him think, man. Get the attention going.
Now, Pierre, picking for the Houston Rockets, I'm hoping I see an Anthony Black selection right here.
Nah, no Anthony Black today, man. We're gonna go with Amen Thompson out of the Overtime Elite program. He's gonna go out there with Ime Udoka and Jalen Green and them guys. Speaking of rim pressure, not many guys in this draft that's gonna do them much better. Hopefully, the shooting for those guys continue to go up so he can have space to operate. And one thing that can be taught and developed in the NBA is a jump shot. And he has all of the other tools, so you hope that the jump shot can catch up. And even if it doesn't, I think this dude can have major success. I loved interviewing him and his brother. I buy into them as NBA players who are going to develop the proper way and put the work in. So we feel safe with this pick.
I'm telling you, Drew, it's amen.
Amen?
Yeah.
All right, hey.
What'd you say, amen?
Amen. Pete, talk to me. Real quick. What's your thoughts on Overtime Elite?
I don't really have no thoughts, but this is what I would say. I've been watching the NBA draft process for a very long time. I feel old because I done seen fucking LeBron get picked, and now I'm about to watch the 2023 class. So that's legitimately 20 years. A prospect is a prospect. You know what I mean? Very rarely do you see somebody and you like, oh, he only good because he's, beating up on a competition. I think some of the traits that both of these guys have shown, they would have showed in a G League, OTE, or college. I always prefer the college route just because I feel like you're playing against your peers, and college is different from the NBA, so it's going to make you work a little bit more depending on where you go. But I look at them as a prospect and not necessarily the competition level, and I'm able to gauge what I gauge based off of my scouting. And no hate to Overtime Elite.
I like the answer.
What's your thoughts? Why you ask me that? What's your thoughts?
I'm just curious because we talked about it on the last podcast, and some words were exchanged about Overtime Elite, whether you're positive or not. But I just want to get your opinion, man.
No, yeah. I mean, I get it. But I think for me, I always look at that closely for bigs.
Okay.
Bigs can really go somewhere and dominate the competition level, and then they get to the NBA and they're all out of whack.
Okay.
Some of the tools that they have, a quick first step works anywhere.
No doubt. But that's
what I mean?
I mean, the athleticism of Amen and Nassar, that's why it's just going to translate regardless.
Exactly.
But the jump shot really was.
Yeah, and the jump shot was going to hurt and hinder them in any area too. In college, G League, that we were going to see that was going to be a glaring weakness. But yeah.
All right, Riv, talk to me. Detroit Pistons.
I've been reading up on some Detroit stuff today, and there's actually been talks of them possibly swinging on the other Thompson brother. Weaver made a comment. He was like, they asked him, would he prefer boom or bust or the safer prospect? And he was like, sometimes you got to take a swing. Sometimes you got to go for the boom potential.
He ain't give an answer, really.
Yeah, he didn't. So it gives me the vibe that he might swing on this one. But I'm going to go with this pick. I think I'm going to go Cam Whitmore here. Okay. I think I'm going to bring in somebody who brings a lot of athleticism. You can put him in the corner, have him come from the dunker spot. He can make good cuts. Defensively, he's there. He's not a good shooter, but I think with him, Cade, Ivy, Duran, and then you got Monty as the coach, I think these four can really develop into a really great four. I think Jarris is safer, but I'm going to go boom here for them, and I think Cam comes in right away and does some good things for them. So
I like that.
Came at 5.
Now for this 6th pick, looking at the Orlando Magic, what they need is space and they need a true floor general point guard. So there's a couple options here that I like. I like Anthony Black, I like Taylor Hendricks, and I like Grady Dick. I think Grady's a bit too high to take here. Taylor Hendricks, probably this is the perfect spot for him. Really, this right around where he should go.
I agree.
But I'm going with the point guard, man. I'm going with Anthony Black. I think Anthony Black has legitimately the best processing of any guard in this draft outside of possibly Scoot Henderson. And he doesn't get enough credit for his athleticism. He's a great athlete. He's not a Thompson twin level athlete, but he's still a great athlete. He has a quick first step. The biggest knock on him is the jump shot. But I think if you have Anthony Black, a 6'7" point guard paired up with the size that Orlando already has, you're building a good foundation. And with that 11th pick they have, they'll select a shooter.
When I talked to Anthony Black, he told me personally he can shoot. He told me that his coach, Eric Musselman, preached to attack. So he told me don't pay attention to the shooting and all of them, whatever people saying. That was just the game plan for the team, was to attack. But he said the jump shot is not a problem. So
what do you think about Anthony Black to Orlando, Pee-wee?
I like it. I'm not mad at it at all. I like it because I feel like he's a basketball player. He's a guy that can be the number one really lead guard, but I think he can play next to Markelle. I love the fact that they already have so much size and so much versatility. And I love that they have the pick at 11, so you don't have to jump up and take Grady Dick at 6 because there's no way Grady Dick name should be in this top 10 conversation at all for any of these teams. But having a pick at 11 lets you get the shooting there.
Would you have taken Anthony Black or would you have taken somebody else?
It depends. But did the draft go exactly the way it's been?
Correct.
Yes.
I would have taken Anthony Black.
All right. All right. Talk to me, John.
I think Hendricks is perfect for Orlando. So now for the Pacers.
There it is.
A
You
team
gave him a gift.
that really
This is where he's perfect for.
Facts. You gave him a gift.
Hendricks,
Absolutely.
This is where he actually gets a role. Like,
I mean, you got Jarris Walker, Taylor Hendricks on the board still.
I'm higher at Hendricks for shot blocking too, a little bit bigger, like an inch taller. But I think Asar Thompson would be a nice player for the Pacers. Okay. What he does in transition opens up the floor. Defensively, he has so much potential.
Is that your pick?
It's not my pick.
Okay.
You know what? Why for some reason I thought Riv took Asar. I might have would have been strong at 6 with the Magic. It would have been between Anthony Black and Asar.
Okay.
This is a hard decision here, man.
But can I ask John why Taylor Hendricks is the perfect fit for Orlando when they have Wendell, Paolo, Franz?
I say that because while he's a 4, they desperately, like most rebuilding teams, need shooting. And Black can develop as a shooter. It's possible, but I think there's a clear limitation with him because of the release point. And I don't think he'd be much of a pull-up threat. And if you're pairing him up with Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs, and he doesn't develop as a shooter, now you've got 3 guards who can't take the top off of defense, which is the concern. So I think Hendricks, his spot up shooting, plus the versatility guard 1 through 4, or I would say 2 through 4, probably not the most fluid guarding point guards like Jarris, but I think Hendricks' role will be kind of ideal in Orlando as a spot up shooter early on.
So if Hendricks was the pick,
because you can get him at 11 probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So if Hendricks was the pick, would he start?
No, probably not I doubt it day 1.
Is it crazy to have Franz start at the 2?
Yes. No, because that means Hendricks is at the 3.
Which is fine. You run a big lineup.
I think Franz would have to start the small forward, but
I don't like that.
Yeah, if Hendricks just sounded like 2K.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it does.
But if Hendricks wasn't versatile defensively, then I'm with you. But he does provide you that.
My worry with Hendricks is that he doesn't press at the rim at all. He doesn't shoot well at the rim at all.
Yeah, 43% layups in the half court.
The only thing he really does is shoot the ball well. So the same way you can say for Anthony Black, well, if the 3-point shot doesn't develop, if the 3-point shot for Hendricks doesn't translate as well, and he's just an average 3-point shooter, now we're talking about somebody who's
Why
very
did people say this
one-dimensional.
about Jabari last year, though?
People did say that about Jabari, though.
People did. People
I
said,
don't
yeah.
think
People did say.
Oh, people said.
Why did people have him the first overall pick then, man,
That is
over
true.
Paolo?
But the people who did it definitely said that his shooting might not translate because he was doing anomaly stuff
Sure. Yeah,
at
he was.
Auburn. So it was like,
The pull-up shooting was legit.
yeah.
All right,
Ultimately,
John.
for the Pacers,
He still didn't pick.
No, he didn't.
Oh, shit.
He's stuck, man. He tried to stall and he couldn't.
It's between Asar, Jarris, and Hendricks. At least
I got one question too.
what's up?
You have Hendricks over Jarris Walker?
I do slightly. They're in the
Okay.
same tier, but there's more of a swing skill with Jarris.
Jarris'
If
passing is OD.
He's good in the short roll. Neither are great finishers. Walker's a better one. I think Hendricks is shot blocking too, like the weak side rim protection, on top of the switchability that Walker also brings. I would, if I were a GM, I would take Taylor before Jarris. But with this pick, I'm going Asar Thompson. Defensively, he has all the tools.
Said it wasn't your pick.
What do you mean?
No, he said he had him. He was considering him.
Oh, okay.
I was between him and Hendricks, but
God
ultimately
damn it.
for the Pacers, they already have a ton of shooting. But Thompson
Washington
can
would
do
have
it.
loved this.
What Thompson can do
Utah.
in
Yes.
transition,
Yes.
I wanted him to Utah so bad.
even if
Washington.
he has a shooter, I'm a pretty big believer in Rick Carlisle's offense having the shooting around Asar and his playmaking from the top of the key, opening up the floor for these guards. I think it'd be a really good fit for a team that desperately needs some wing talent.
I'm in a tough spot here. Because the Wizards definitely want a point guard.
All the swing picks are basically off the board.
That's a fact, man. And it's been a very as time has gone on, we've seen Case and Wallace's projection go lower and lower. But I feel like if the draft board were to break this way, Case and Wallace would be in consideration. But it's so hard to pass up on Jarris, to pass up on Taylor. I'm definitely considering Jalen Hood-Schifino too. That's a guy that needs acknowledgement here at 8. But
might have to consider Kobe Buffkin at this pick.
Yes,
Kobe
sir.
Buffkin definitely
Please.
is another one that
Respect
has
that.
grown, has continued to move up a lot of people's draft boards. Man, you taking a star put me in a tough spot, John. I would be completely transparent.
I'll be honest. Washington's not thinking about
Yeah.
Hendricks at all.
No, I agree. No, Hendricks definitely is not one that I'm looking at here. However, with Kyle Kuzma now, I believe, if I'm not wrong, he declined
Yeah.
his option. Probably would be looking to get more money either from the Wizards or from a team elsewhere. Jarris Walker does become intriguing. He also does provide that playmaking aspect, also a defensive versatility. So at 8, I will be going Jarris Walker.
So 8th overall pick, Jarris Walker.
Definitely considered Kaysen. I'm not gonna lie. He's just a safe player that Washington could have definitely benefited from. But Jarris falls to 8. They're not saying no.
Pee Wee, pick from Utah Jazz.
A lot of interesting conversations there. I do think the Wizards will be looking at Hendricks. I do think they will look at him. They don't have shit. A lot of the names that y'all name, I just think that they will put them in position to fail. Kobe Buffkin, I like, but you got to give Kobe Buffkin something to work with. Same with Case and Wallace. I like Jarris Walker or Taylor Hendricks. But I agree with Drew. Asar is like, that's dream night scenario for the Wizards.
No doubt.
High upside guy. Let him just do whatever the fuck he want to do for the first couple of years. 9, Utah. So Utah has Walker Kessler. Already an elite rim protecting big. You have all-star Laurie Marketing. Shout out to John for the Walker Kessler love in last year.
Real.
I like Case and Wallace here because I like the defense, and I feel like if you have him at as one of your perimeter defenders with Walker Kessler behind him, that kind of ties everything up. But at 9, it feels like you got to go for more of a reach.
Facts.
So I'm gonna take Bilal Koulibaly.
Interesting.
9 for the Utah Jazz.
Interesting. You're a Koulibaly guy? I respect that.
Yeah.
That's another one that's continued to rise as we get closer and closer to the draft. I saw Victor was talking him up saying, hey, we got Amon, we got Asar. You need to start respecting Bilal.
He's the gym. He's the gym in his draft class. Me and Joel was texting, and I'm a big Bilal guy, man. I'm a big Bilal guy. I never thought I would take him this high, but when I look at Utah and some of the guys that are off the board, and because they have another pick down the line at 16,
they can get a point guard at 16.
Yeah, you can. You know what I mean? You can. They have 16 and 28 left. You can take a reach at your 9. This is what the top 10 pick is for. Is for you to take that reach and live a little. And then at 16 and 28, you can keep it safe.
Reading on Bilal Koulibaly, and I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. It's Koulibaly. It's super hard to pronounce for me.
Understand.
It's actually Koulibaly.
Koulibaly.
Okay.
That's much easier. Koulibaly.
Me in the middle.
I heard somebody pronounce it, and then I just wrote it down in the abbreviate like Koulibaly.
On all the scouting videos, I heard them call him Koulibaly, but listen, I'm gonna believe you, P.
This is one of those names where it's gonna be 5 ways to say it.
Jeremy Shohan of this year.
Yeah.
Sochan.
I was definitely saying Sochan.
Yeah.
For sure. I was saying
And
Sochan.
somebody described him as somebody, if you watch his highlights, you can very easily be sold on him
Sure.
becoming a star player. But there's one stat with him that kind of alarms me, and it's that in the half court per game, he only attempts about 2 shots in
He's
the
not
half
good at
court.
creating.
So on offense, though the highlights look amazing, when you watch the full games on him, he becomes very invisible offensively. Could be in large part due to his role with the Metropolitans, but that was one of the biggest knocks on him. But he is somebody who has already a skill set that you like. He can shoot, he can defend, and then we'll see if his other parts of his game can round out.
No, and I think that's why Utah is probably the perfect spot because they run a lot of off-ball actions, a lot of cutting, a lot of spacing. So he can. Will Hardy can. He's gonna be all right with Will Hardy.
Utah is a team though that could use some creation. I mean, Laurie's
Yeah.
not a creator himself, really. He's
But
really
Laurie
He's a play finisher.
is a guy who played a lot of off-ball work, and he averaged 25 points a game.
thrives. He thrives.
So,
That's why I say that you don't really have much creators. Of course, Laurie is
Yeah.
a
You
anomaly.
still do have Jordan Clarkson over there.
Okay.
Tucker. Ochai Agbaji is not a creator, but I think you got some guys where you can run you a little decent offense. They're a long way from being complete. You know what I mean? So
that's what the 16th pick is for. Get that point guard.
Arif, you got the 10th overall pick, the
I
Dallas
already know where
Mavericks.
he's going.
No, Hendricks is here. I'm
Yeah.
going Taylor Hendricks.
Yeah.
it's simple.
Yeah, Taylor Hendricks is there. You got the shooting, big man. Him and Luka would probably be perfect in the pick and roll,
You're
pick
gonna
and
force
pop.
me to fuck with Dallas.
Dream scenario, man.
Yeah,
Dream
Hendricks
scenario.
was right. I didn't have to do much and think about it.
I never thought that he would be here, but every time I did a mock draft earlier, and it was like him or Jarris Walker. There's always one of them there for the Mavericks, which I never thought would be possible, but here they are.
If Asar drops to 7, I think that the Pacers do take Asar, but that Pacers 7th pick is where I see Taylor Hendricks going.
Me too. I don't see the Asar with the Pacers. I don't. Halliburton, Mathurin.
Get out and run. They really don't
They
have.
need a forward.
They
don't got
do.
none.
They do.
Yeah, they need a 4.
He's a 2.
Oh, you said a
Matherin's a
forward
2.
or 4?
A forward.
Forward?
Yeah. They've got.
I could definitely run him at the
Mathurin
3.
could play the 3.
I
Cool,
think
but it's more of a,
Yeah, they need a power forward. They need an actual 4 more than a
He
wing.
attacks
agree.
the basket. His physical. I don't know. He seems like a forward.
You get Turner and Jarris Walker in that front court with Halliburton and Mathurin. You could fucking find you one of
I
those.
just think if Hendricks doesn't go 7, he does fall
I
a couple spots.
I like the idea of Indiana trading the pick, getting the Raptors pick at 14 and getting OG back.
They said they want to keep OG. Rumors.
Yeah, I saw that
There's
too.
also rumors that that Gary Trent wants to stay, so it's seeming like Toronto
No,
wants
yeah,
to
they're
keep that core
talking
together.
Keep both. They're both young.
I'm
so.
sick.
Keeping together mid.
I'm done. Respect Gary
Screaming.
Trent.
Respect
Gary
OG.
Trent. Yeah, that too.
Gary
I
Trent.
said Gary
is-
Trent.
You know I'm a
first.
Gary Trent guy.
Respectfully,
That's my
Nuts.
dog.
11th overall pick for
What's
me
even
is very easy, and I expect him to be on the board at this point. I think it's Grady Dick. I think he's going to
Definitely.
fall right into the
This
Magic's
is a
lap.
dream scenario for
He's
Orlando.
somebody that they need shooting, and he's one of the best shooters in his draft class. It's an easy pick.
What makes you pick him over Jordan Hawkins?
That's the one.
Listen, that is a good point. It could be either or. The reason why I probably pick Grady Dick over Jordan Hawkins is because I like the size more of Grady Dick. That's probably it. And I like the versatility more in terms of
He
just
can dribble
all
You really
around.
don't see
him
Hawkins
being
with
a better passer than him. That's what I see. I see Jordan. Both are going to play an off-ball role in Orlando, so I can see either or being the
I
pick.
think Grady's better off ball in general. He's better cutting to the rim. He's better at being a connector in terms of making the next play. He's also a better creator, and it's not saying much if Hawkins doesn't. really
Jordan Hawkins, again, this is from the horse's mouth. He told me, don't buy into that. That's just the way that the offense was. And they found more.
That's the inside
Yeah,
scoop.
what am I
I mean,
supposed to
he's
do,
the
bro?
inside scoop guy.
I can
That's
only
why we
watch
bring
the
him over
film.
here.
I'm just saying, yeah, he just told me, when they won games, that's how, for them to win, he had to play an off-ball threat, running around screens. But he said, I asked all of these guys, what's one thing that's going to surprise people? And he told me the fact that he can create his own shot because he didn't get the chance to do that.
And it was Cam Whitmore that said, I think it was Cam, that
It was the hardest one to guard.
Jordan was the hardest player
Yes,
to guard because
he
he
did say
moves so well. I mean, this is
Yeah.
probably the best college mover.
Yeah, can't wait till he's in LA. It's gonna be viral.
You're nuts.
Or Utah.
Or Utah.
They picked
Facts.
before.
Yeah,
So
facts.
that'd be tough.
Or Atlanta. They could break my heart too.
15. All
Yeah.
those teams.
Now, 12th overall pick, you're picking for OKC, John. Who are you going with?
Naturally, I initially mocked Bilal Coulibaly to them because Sam Presti's sick and his looks are upside at every single chance he can get.
Yes.
I think they're a pretty big candidate in to move this pick. We're not doing trades though, right?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to take.
We need to start doing trades one.
We should.
Yeah.
Can I think?
Next year we should start
Get
just
erratic.
throwing in hella trades.
Then it depends
Like,
what teams are we each gonna have.
depends whoever. If he wins trades to 15, whoever has 15, you got to just say yeah.
We just have to do the math real quick.
Okay. I like Derek Lively, but not as a backup center in this team. And I think I'm going to go Jordan Hawkins here for
You
the
fucker.
Oklahoma
With
City
Isaiah Joe
Thunder.
there?
With Isaiah Joe, I mean, like I said before,
The pitch was due.
Y'all can see me. Y'all can hear me.
Yeah.
That was weird. We back though.
They said them pics y'all making was fucked up.
They said we connected to Dehls Wi-Fi. Dehls, why they playing with your Wi-Fi, man?
yeah. Oh, we're back on. So for all of you guys that may not have caught it, with the 12th overall pick, we decided to take Jordan Hawkins from UConn for the
We is
Thunder.
crazy. You.
I decided to because really the Thunder don't have a need here. And I think the biggest necessity, the one thing they lack is 3-point shooting.
Okay.
Hawkins' off-ball movement on top of the creators they have in Giddey and SGA. I think they run a couple of different actions with him, and it's going to open up more spacing for Shea to get even better, which
Yeah.
for Oklahoma City,
And
there is
the
a
staggering minutes between Giddey and SGA is going to be cool because now you can send Giddey to the bench quicker, have him out for the second half, keep having shooters in, rotating. That's really good for the spacing. Drew.
Raptors, my Raptors. Ah, man,
Your
13.
Raptors is
Yeah, for
nuts.
sure. All right. Hey, man, you gotta go with the vibes. Exactly.
I've been here since day one. I've seen the bill.
Raptors, one of those
you know?
teams that obviously Fred does not seem as if he's going to be back in Toronto. So I'm looking at point guard, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Derek Lively here. Also, I do think they need some help at the big position. They did bring up Ja Morant in at the trade deadline. He will most likely re-sign as a free agent. I'm expecting that. You don't trade first round picks and not re-sign a guy, but Derek Lively is definitely a guy that I should mention, but I feel like it is going to be a point guard. I'm between Jalen Hood-Schifino and Cason Wallace. I just think that Cason Wallace fits Toronto's game plan a little bit more. They're a defensive-oriented team. Cason obviously provides you with stable offensive ability, but really why he's getting drafted here is because his defense can be elite at the NBA level. And I think that with them needing a point guard, Cason fills that need perfectly.
Just tell PB to give his analysis on this, so while I switch some things back.
Okay.
Because we're not going to be on camera for a little bit.
All right, Pete, talk to me. Pick 14, New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, you took Cason?
I took Cason 13.
It's not bad.
You took Cason Wallace at 13. So at 14, we have the Pelicans. And I'm not going to lie. With the Pelicans, I kind of feel like John, we're kind of similar to the Thunder. What holes do the Pelicans really have? There's not really any centers out here who can, be a sniper for to put in the front court with Zion. Man, this is probably one of the toughest picks. You said you took Cason, Drew. What the hell? Hello.
We're back.
You can hear us, Pee Wee?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I had asked Drew a question, and I was just by myself.
I was answering. I hope that. So you didn't hear anything I said about Cason. Now it makes sense.
Yeah. So you took Cason at 13.
Yeah. So I said, should we just run it back? What pick this back from?
13.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna talk again. I don't give a fuck.
No. Just we got it.
All right. Well, it's just so Pete can hear me. Yeah, I said Cason for Toronto. Obviously, defensive point guard, defensive-minded point guard. They need a point guard with Fred probably moving on.
Oh, Jalen?
Jalen definitely is in consideration. I just think that Cason provides you a little bit more playmaking. Defensively, I lean Cason. Offensively, probably Hood Schifino, but the three-point shot isn't there. He lives in that mid-range. He comes off screens. Jalen Hood Schifino is definitely a really good prospect, but I think that Cason fits the defensive-minded team that is the Toronto Raptors.
I'm not mad at it. Right now at 14, or what is this? 14.
Yeah, Pelicans, facts.
The Pelicans. Like I said, I don't know if y'all heard me before that happened. I feel like John with the Thunder, where like I look at the point guard spot. You got CJ, you got Jose. Last year you drafted Dyson Daniels, who can play 1 and 2. You still got Kira Lewis, Herb Jones. Then for the wings, you got Ingram, Najee Marshall, Trey Murphy, Josh Richardson, Valanciunas. Like I don't know where to go. This team still has Jackson Hayes, who I felt was going to be traded.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you can hear us.
There you go. It went in and out, but y'all back. Okay. I am going to take. This is a very tough pick because I feel like this is just guard. We're at the part of the draft where it's guard galore.
No doubt.
I am going to take Noah Clowney.
Oh,
Noah Clowney from
reach it.
Alabama.
It's gonna reach.
You have to. You have to reach. I'm gonna take Noah Clowney. I was very high on Noah Clowney way earlier. I kind of fell off a little bit, but right now it just seems like the best thing to do if I can't make a trade.
Yeah.
Um,
didn't enter your mind? Kobe or Jalen Hood-Schifino. Those are the two. I just think that they need.
To be honest with you, I was just about to say, give me a second so I could think, but it wasn't gonna be those two. It's gonna be more Keontae George. I just like shooting, but as far as the guard play,
yeah,
they kind of overloaded, bro. Shit, I wish it was some type of wing. Somebody took Grady Dick, right? Yeah, he took Grady Dick.
They're overloaded, but they don't have anyone that can really play make at the guard position at that type of level. Like obviously CJ can, and then obviously Brandon Ingram's another one that you look at. He could play make. I don't know.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Give me Kobe Buffkin. I didn't. Kobe.
Whoa!
I convinced him.
No, he can't go back.
No. I didn't know that Kobe Buffkin was still on the board.
Nah, he knew.
I'm sorry.
We got P. I convinced him. That's a W for me. I'll take it. That.
What the hell?
All right, Pete.
Why you was gonna take? Was you gonna take Kobe Buffkin?
God, I was about to take Kobe next.
Yes.
Then I'm not taking Kobe Buffkin. Give me Nick Smith Jr.
Whoa. All right. So no Noah Clowney. You're going Nick.
Give me Nick Smith Jr. Give me Nick Smith Jr. Somebody who can be a little bit of both. I don't know. I don't like that pick. If I'm like John, if I could, I would probably try to trade that. I would put a package together.
Why not Hood-Schifino?
I don't like Jalen. He's too similar to Dyson Daniels on this roster. Jalen Hood-Schifino is one of my favorite guards in this entire draft, but specifically for the New Orleans Pelicans, him and Dyson Daniels is just kind of a redundant thing.
Okay.
Even who did I just take for them?
No, you took Noah Clowney.
Nick Smith.
Oh,
Noah Clowney might be a good ass pick for them. They might have to be one of those teams that ain't caught up in the hype of like draft talk on Twitter.
Yeah.
And say fuck all of the hype and just take what they need, because they're going to become a team that their prospects aren't really going to grow as much because everything is so loaded. If I get Keontae George or Jett Howard, how can he get minutes?
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's why the Pelicans are an odd fit, because they have so much young talent, but they don't have enough minutes for everybody to play.
I'm with you.
It's the same thing with the Thunder.
It is the same
Talk
thing.
to me. 15.
And this is where you're taking Kobe Buffkin?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Kobe here.
Why not Hood?
Right. You was all Jalen Hood-Schifino 2 minutes ago.
That was me.
That wasn't. First of all, wrong dude. That wasn't me. Second of all, I feel like Atlanta is also one of those weird spots where like you don't know what they're gonna do. But I think the thing that they need the most is another guard, because outside of Trae Young and DeJounte, I mean, I feel like they have a little bit of a logjam at the forward spot with AJ, with DeAndre Hunter. Jalen Johnson kind of rose on the scene last year a little bit. And of course, if they ever decide to move John Collins, but until he gets moved, he's still there. And then they got Clint, they got Onyeka. So what do they not have depth in? The backup point guard position. I think Kobe is the perfect Swiss Army knife that can do pretty much a little bit of everything. And he's somebody that can fill that role. Even if DeJounte decides to leave, they still have Kobe Buffkin that can play off ball and on ball. So I think it's a weird spot, but I'm gonna go Kobe here.
It's a
It's a good pick. It's a great
I
pick.
should have picked him first.
You should have.
Great pick.
You should have took him
It's a
first.
great pick.
Nah,
The Pelicans cool. They don't need Kobe Buffkin.
Ironically enough, you took Noah Clowney or wanted to take Noah Clowney for the Pelicans. That's one you could contemplate here too, with a lot of rumors about John Collins getting traded.
He's been having those
6'10"
rumors
guy
for
who
4
can
years.
I was
a
like
fact.
a sophomore in
That's
high
a fact.
school.
Yeah.
But I only said that a
Retired.
6'10" guy obviously can rim protect, but also can stretch the floor a little bit. That's one of those that we got to see if the shot translates to the NBA. But
Oh,
Definitely.
John plays the forward. They have Jalen Johnson. He also plays the forward. Then you
Okay.
got Clint. You got Onyeka. Like there's no guards. There's no extra
I
guards.
just heard
for them.
so many rumors of John Collins, that Clint Capella potentially
They're
getting.
another team loaded almost every position. Guys, DeJounte is a 2. Then you have Bogdanovich. You have DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, John Collins.
Steve Bay is another one. It's
Yeah.
another forward. Like they don't got enough guards. Even with
You're right.
With the Pelicans, they got a lot.
Adrian Griffin, who deserved to get more minutes.
CJ McCollum, I feel like is taking a spot from one. Like he, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
kind of crazy to say because CJ. But
yeah, he doesn't fit the timeline. It's okay.
Now at the next pick, the 16th overall pick, Pee Wee took Bryce Coulibaly. So now they have him. They have Hartman, Bilal. Now they have Walker Kessler. I'm going to go with the swing pick here. Another swing pick. I'm going with Keontae George.
I like that.
Shot creator. I feel like they need some shot creation.
No
there's
Jalen
already a
Hood?
rumor that Colin Sexton is on a trade block. So that means that a guard possibly is going to be out of that rotation. He didn't play much for them last year in the second half of the season. So Keontae George is going to have a lot of opportunity to grow and just be free in that offense.
That's a tough one. You didn't think of Jalen Hood at all?
I thought about it, but I like Keontae George's upside more.
Because they do got Agbaji, who'll probably play more next year. Clarkson will still be there. They got Colin if they do decide to move him. Taylor Horton, he does play guard too. Yeah.
Let's stop mentioning him. It's a joke.
I'm sorry. He played well with them.
I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, he always has a couple of really good games, but like Taylor Horton Tucker at this point is a guy you don't prioritize in a rebuild.
I understand.
He's kind of just a guy. I feel like,
I'll tell you what, 17.
Yeah.
Bradley's on the board.
Still?
It's intriguing.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
He's still on the board.
It's intriguing. Jalen Hood-Schifino definitely would be one of those.
No.
Come on now.
And this is my pick.
Yeah, it is yours. It is.
With the 17th overall pick, the Lakers are going to take Dariq Whitehead out of Duke.
John.
Over Lively?
Why? John, I get it.
Why is
I
that
get
crazy?
it. No, it's not. It's not insane.
Really? Whitehead?
But it's just a risk.
Why is
He's
that
one of
crazy?
those. I say this. He's a risk for the fact that he obviously has the injuries. There's a lot of upside in him, for sure. But the Lakers aren't a team that need upside
They're not a
right
developing
now.
type team.
Just not right now.
They
It's
aren't
a
a
good fit for
developing
us
type
if
team?
LeBron James
Are
wasn't
you
on
going to
the
sit here and
squad.
tell me
Austin
Austin Reeves? I
Reeves?
knew you were going to
Rui
do that.
That was an
Hachimura?
anomaly.
Alex
Austin Reeves
Caruso?
being as good as he was a shock. Caruso, another one, being as good as he was a
I
positive
disagree with
shot.
that take. The Lakers develop young talent well. They
They
just
do.
don't have top 5 picks. The case for Dariq Whitehead is
It's
obviously
a great pick. It's just early.
broke
It is
his
early.
at 17. I don't think it's early. He broke his foot in like August and really didn't have a healthy season at Duke. Had to undergo surgery again later on in the year. He was a top ranked prospect for a reason. The 3-point shooting this last year above 40%. You're getting a player that's not going to have to play day one because you drafted Max Christie last year. You have optimism. He becomes your 4th or 5th guy off the bench.
Yeah.
And you look at Dariq Whitehead. He's not going to have to play day one, but in year 2 or 3, he can fill in as a spot up shooter. And if he can regain that athleticism he showed
I
at
think-
Montverde, this could be a fantastic.
right.
Yeah,
Listen,
I
John,
just think
your
I don't
logic is right.
think you're thinking for the Lakers
You're
because the
not.
Lakers don't think 2-3 years down the road. They
Thinking
think
right now.
who's going to help them win right
But
now.
they're a deep team.
At what?
We kind of
Lakers are
are.
a deep team.
We kind of are.
Do they have a backup center?
No, that's why it would need to be Derek, bro. It needed to
Their
be.
backup centers.
You
like
just
Mo
blessed
Bamba.
Miami. though.
Exactly, because Miami, without a doubt, 100% is going Derek Lively right now. They're a team that needs big
The
help.
Lakers are getting themselves a quality prospect.
I don't disagree. I
No,
think Whitehead is
Whitehead
good.
is going to be a
Yeah.
solid option, especially late because the injury concerns. He's dropping in the draft. But listen, I think Derek Whitehead is a very firm prospect. I think just
Jersey.
And
what
that's the
fits the
thing.
Lakers timeline right now is Derek.
I agree,
Derek
but
Lively,
centers,
ironically.
let's be honest, they take 2 or 3 years to develop too. Centers don't come in day one ready to contribute. Very rarely is a Walker Kessler that good defensively. Derek
I
Lively-
agree, but they wouldn't need him to do that.
We would need him.
He would be the backup.
He would most definitely be our backup.
Even still, if he's playing the playoffs as a rookie deep in the postseason,
But he's getting runs with the second unit. It's not like we're needing him to get starting minutes immediately.
that's fair.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they're going to play AD 40 minutes in the playoffs anyway.
I
so.
am going.
What's the difference between Dariq Whitehead and fucking Lonnie Walker on the Lakers?
The fact they're probably not going to be able to bring back Walker.
You talking about as a player. I see how you try to get out of that.
No, he sees it. I think
And free
we
agency
signed
is
it. I was
probably
going to say
gone.
we got him on a 1
I
year.
think he outplayed his price tag this last
I mean,
year.
it was a moment.
He did?
A moment. He had a moment where he outplayed. his
Oh,
Anyway, let's
my
be honest.
gosh.
Lonnie was their 3rd best player up until Reese came back from his injury.
Relax.
He was their 3rd best player.
Early in the season, you're saying?
First half of the year.
So
All
with
right,
Westbrook.
I'm not going to disagree.
Right?
Nah, Lonnie was
Yeah.
hooping.
was with
Lonnie
Westbrook, right?
And then he
hooping.
came back in the playoffs and played a big role down the stretch in the Warriors series. He's a really good player.
He had
played well.
a moment, and it was
Moment
He had
amazing.
a moment.
It was unbelievable.
He
It
had
was
a
an
good year.
unbelievable moment that I'll never forget for the rest
That
of my
was a
life.
quality year by
Can I-
a good young
Can I
man.
ask a serious question?
So,
Talk to me.
How did the Lakers develop Rui Hachimura?
I mean,
You said that, so
would you
I'm
say-
asking.
Would you say that it's easily the best that Rui's played in the NBA?
It's a matter of situation.
He called
best
Phil
talent
Handy
he's
one
played
of
around.
the biggest reasons why he played that well.
It is the most
Yeah.
talent he's ever played with, P. I won't say it
So I'm
wrong.
asking, how did they develop him?
Well, in the second unit, he got the right type of opportunity, creating a little bit, but then primarily
Feel handy.
Go.
he has a good.
Thank God
great
he's staying with
development.
the Lakers. He's not
Just
going.
that.
He's
Now,
not going
18th pick is
follow
yours,
his son.
Drew, for the Miami Heat.
Yes. So with the 18th selection, I will be going with Derek Lively, a team that needs big help desperately. Especially you bring in Derek Lively. Now Bam Adebayo isn't desperately needed down low in the paint. Now in pick and roll situations, he can switch. He can get out on the perimeter. Obviously, Bam Adebayo is one of the few guys in the league that can switch you 1 through 5. Bam Adebayo, one of the best defensive players in the game, but they need more presence down low. And I think with Derek Lively falls to 18, they're getting a blessing.
Pee-wee, man, don't fuck up my Warriors.
With the 19th overall pick, the Warriors are going to take James Nagy out of
reached.
Barcelona.
Nah, he didn't reach. I don't think he reached. I like it a lot, actually.
Whitehead was a rich, but this wasn't.
No, this is not a reach to me.
You think he'll
This
be
is not a
ready
reach.
day one?
Who is going to be ready day one?
Kobe Jones.
For the Warriors?
Chris Murray.
Chris Murray definitely could be ready day one.
It was between Chris Murray and James Nagy. I thought Kobe Jones would be the pick for the Lakers if you were going to take the guard. To be honest with you, he's on a list of my 5 favorite prospects in this draft, but Dariq Whitehead was it. So I'm looking at a mock draft right here in front of me where Dariq Whitehead is at 28th.
Nah, for sure. It's the injuries, bro. It has people second guessing.
James
I
Nagy.
like him. He's a sleeper for me. I mean,
No,
he's a catch and shoot guy. He has a bag to get shots off. His finishing is questionable, but I at this point, everybody has some questionable.
Here we go. Swinging for the fences then. Fuck it, right?
Why not?
Let's have some fun.
This is all day.
Jalen Hood-Schifino still on the board.
Which is crazy to me. It's just crazy.
Happened in our last mock.
It did
Bleacher
happen.
Report,
Yeah,
too. It's
Wasserman
weird.
gave us help.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I think the next team we'll go to is probably Brooklyn because I ain't picking him with you.
I don't blame you because you went Amon, right?
Yeah.
So who went aiming? You.
Whoever.
I didn't
I did.
He went Amon.
So we got our point guard of the
Makes
future.
sense.
Sweet. We got Jalen Green at the 2. I am now a Houston fan, so Houston Nation. We got Sengun, big Sengun fan now. It's up. We got him at the 5. We got Eason on the bench. I feel like we need another wing now.
I agree. I think I see a wing.
I do. I see Leonard Miller.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking
But
at.
I see some shooters, Jets right there.
Bryce.
Could go Bryce. You know what? I'm gonna go Bryce.
Okay,
I like
I
that
like
pick.
that.
I'm gonna go
I like
Bryce.
that.
I feel like Bryce is
I
probably
hate this fucking pick. I hate this pick so fucking much.
Bro, what's wrong with Bryce?
I'm gonna go Bryce. He's a bucket.
Bryce got-
I'm going
exactly.
Bryce.
This team has too many of that. It has too many buckets. It had KPJ, Jalen Green, now Bryce, now fucking you got Jabari, Shingun. Like they need somebody who's gonna step on the court, and the priority is not going to be get a bucket.
Bang down low. I'm not bang down low.
They try. I mean, they got Tari Eason. I think he fits that, but they need a couple more guys like Tari Eason.
That's
Jay
why I would have
Sean
gone
Tate.
Leonard Miller. Leonard Miller would have been my pick here for
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact that he'll get hit. He makes his presence felt down low, and he tries to make an active effort of finishing near the basket.
So I like this pick.
That's what
I
we
feel
picked
like
Aimon for. Run the show, set the
Okay.
table.
All right, all
Shooters
right.
will be
I
there.
feel like the Rockets got a lot of swing picks. Leonard Miller is a good prospect. I feel like he's a swing pick as well. That's why I think I like Bryce Sensabaugh. He's a solid player. I think, especially after swinging for Amen Thompson with the Rockets pick, I like either Bryce Sensabaugh or Chris Murray.
Just
Just an
laugh at
older-
that.
There you go. Chris Murray. They need a fucking Chris Murray. They need somebody who's not like, give me the ball, watch out.
Yeah.
Which Leonard Miller would be like that as well. It's like I'm getting the rebound and I'm going. Fuck the three guys ahead of me. I'm making something happen.
So 21st pick in the draft. This is easy for me. The Brooklyn Nets are going with Jalen Hood
There he
Schifino.
goes.
Perfect Spencer Dinwiddie replacement.
Yes.
Thank heavens.
All right, John, talk to me. 22.
With the
Brooklyn Nets.
22nd overall pick.
Don't fall.
Easy pick right here.
Yep.
I just gotta take Schifino first for well, I actually mixed up the 2 picks.
This guy fell right in your lap.
He did. John's not going to pick him.
I don't think John's gonna
He's
pick.
not picking him.
I think you're talking about Colby Jones, who I've got.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Kobe.
No. You shouldn't go to Brooklyn. No.
I see your logic. However, no, that's not the pick.
Don't
that I'm
tell me
thinking
the
either.
player you're thinking.
I
of.
won't.
It's
Of course
Noah
not, John.
Clowney, right?
Yeah, that's the guy I'm thinking.
Is that what you're
Really?
thinking of? Noah
Yeah,
Clowney?
that is what I'm thinking.
I think
No, I'm not thinking of no Clowney.
That's is Gigi Jackson. There's some
You
reports
swing
he
that-
falls
you
to the
love
second
GG
round.
Jackson.
I like that. Now you're starting to get to that mold. Same type of player.
Gigi's fascinating because at 6'9", his handle,
Yes.
body control around the
Love
rim, the feel, the shooting wasn't there, but he's also 18 years old. He's so raw, but he has real upside long term in 3 or 4
Brooklyn
years.
can gamble.
And the Nets have 2 first-round picks in this class. You have to take a shot on one. I'm taking Gigi Jackson
There you go.
here at pick
All
20.
right.
So,
Yeah.
Pee, were you thinking about Leonard Miller?
Yes.
That's
Really?
how I was
Okay.
thinking that too.
What's the case for Miller or for Jackson?
There is none. I think they're the same type of thing where you have 2 picks. You took one with Jalen Hood-Schifino, and the next one had to be somebody that's more of a project. And I think both of them fit that. So I'm fine with the Gigi Jackson pick.
Now, you're picking for
Okay.
Portland.
I am picking for
Win
Portland.
now.
And Portland is
Again, actually.
I know. I am. And I selected Brandon Miller. Am I pretending that Brandon Miller is on the Blazers?
Yes, you
You
should.
picked them.
All right. Not just making sure, just because we're saying that on a
They are
competing
trying to win.
you guys say a competing Blazers team, Brandon Miller will not be
Who
on
said that?
That's what I listen. This is what I just
Just
heard
make
right
your
now.
pick.
Dame wants to win now.
That's what I said. That's what I heard. So I think regardless of that fact, I think for the fact that you can't trust their big men, not even a little bit, I feel like this has to be either Noah Clowney or you took James Najee already. That would have been one that definitely would have been me to keep my eye on here. But I am going to be selecting Noah Clowney. Provides you size, can also stretch the floor, defensive versatility. I'm going Noah Clowney.
Kobe Jones fell right into the Sacramento Kings lap.
For sure. Or
No.
or
No. Nope.
Leonard Miller.
Nope.
Chris Murray.
Nope.
Pick who
It's Pete's turn.
Oh, it's
Pete's
Pete's
pick.
Pete pick. Damn.
Max
Nope.
Lewis.
Nope.
Ed
No,
Howard?
I'm Maxwell Lewis.
Okay.
Nice. I like
Okay.
that pick.
Let me ask you:
The-
Is
This is my biggest sleeper in the draft. I think Maxwell Lewis is going to be the steal of the draft if he falls this late. This dude is a shooter, a scorer, extremely good size. He has enough in his game to attack closeouts after they are honest on a jump shot and finish it. But I think this dude is Chris Middleton, Devin Vassell, even at his highest potential, Paul George level talent. And for him to fall to Sacramento, oh, that's a good draft. That's the A+ for them right there for me.
for P to say someone has Paul George level talent?
High praise.
That is his favorite player. For him to say he could be Paul George, he cannot be exaggerating.
No, this is the dude. This is my number one sleeper in the entire class.
And I can't even ask you if you even thought about Maxence Prosper for the fact that Sacramento needs defense. He
They
can,
do.
you know what I'm saying? Like he
They
can
do.
stretch. He can also make his presence felt down low. The defensive versatility. He would probably would have been my pick, but I understand Maxwell Lewis for all the reasons that you said.
He fits. Prosper fits in the next team too. Grit and grind.
That's your pick.
Yeah,
But
but
the Kings can't fall into the trap of tasting the playoffs and thinking they have to take their pick as a right now. No, Maxwell Lewis is a guy that he's going to be. This is a young team that won. He'll fit that, and they'll have a budding star who will take them over the top in 3 years. They have to think that the Kings have to think about 2 or 3 years and not coming in next year.
Perfectly said.
let's do some for Memphis. The goal here is to who can come in, and they're talking about Jones, as they're possibly shopping Jones. So who can come in, still defend, and be able to bring more 3-point shooting to this team. I think Jet brings more 3-point shooting. Brandon Pozepski does, but I think Kobe Jones is the easy pick here. Somebody who kind of brings in the defense, the playmaking, and the shooting. Somebody who can kind of do a little bit of everything, and he can kind of come in and play right now, especially for a team that values that and they want to continue to be competitive and continue to win. With Ja missing 25 games, you're kind of going to need some rookies to step up, and I think Kobe Jones can be one of them rookies.
I like that.
So I'm
Kobe
gonna go
Jones is a good pick. I like that pick. Now for the Indiana Pacers 26 selection. Now the first pick was Asar, and this is their next first round pick, correct?
It is.
They didn't pick again. Okay.
No, they have a next pick in 29 though.
So you know what? I think that I'm gonna go with proven, man. I like Leonard Miller here, I do, but he's a little bit of a project. I feel like they need more win now players, so I'm
Chris
gonna go with Chris Murray
Murray.
here.
Yeah, it's a
Good.
good pick.
Chris Murray's a pick for Indiana.
Great pick.
Charlotte needs
Am I
that.
up next?
Have
Yeah.
fun.
Word.
It's the Hornets.
Well, I did them well at the second overall pick, so it's only right I do it again. With the 27th overall pick, Jet Howard is still chilling on the board. And while nobody watched the Hornets last year, fun fact, they had the second worst three-point percentage in the league. Obviously, it was a down year for them on the offensive end of the floor. Gaining a proven shooter like him that can move well without the ball, I think would also be one of the bigger steals of this mock draft because he really should be going in the top 20.
Why didn't you pick him then, John?
I thought there were guys
So about
that were
Jet.
better fits for other
Oh,
teams.
okay.
This is why this draft is so crazy because I feel the same way about Kobe Jones, Maxwell Lewis. There's so many guys that like after 10, it's just up in the air. A guy could go. I could see certain guys going 15, and I can also see them going 27. I could, Dariq Whitehead wasn't much of a reach, we should have said, but that's probably the earliest version I could see him getting drafted. But it's such a big window for everything after 10.
I do feel like every draft we see that though, where Jaden Hardy, that was a top 5 prospect, falls into the second round. It's just like when you're in the moment, it feels like it's this specific year.
So this is the Utah Jazz's third pick of this mock draft. We got them with Bilal Coulibaly. We got them with Keontae George. And I said how we needed some creation. The Jazz went and solved that need at pick 16. I think that we could add a little defensive presence. I did mention Maxence Prosper for the Sacramento pick. I am contemplating him here. Brandon Podziemski, just for the three-point shooting, another one that I'm contemplating here. But then also just for the size alone, Leonard Miller enters my matrix. I'm stuck between Leonard Miller and Maxence Prosper. I feel like if I'm the Utah Jazz, I might have to go upside here. So for that, I'm probably, and by probably, I mean I'm 100% selecting Leonard Miller here.
I would have went there too.
Me too. I would have went with that pick.
Good pick,
That's
Drew.
great
Thanks,
value.
man. Appreciate that. Exactly. Getting Miller at pick 28. That's a steal. Talk to me, Mr. The Plug.
All right, so keep this screen up. Can I see our Okay, we got Asar, perfect. I'm not gonna say perfect. I would have took Hendricks, but cool. We got Chris Murray, perfect. That is the perfect one right there. And can you go down to the current roster for me?
Yes, sir.
They got Miles Turner, Buddy Hill. Oh, they have Buddy Hill. I forgot Buddy Hill is on this team.
It's gonna be a Laker, bro. Don't worry.
It's gonna be a Sun.
McConnell.
Never know.
So at the 4 they have there. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to have them take. I do think it's time for Buddy Hill to get traded. Shit.
To LA, bro. Manifest it.
This would have been a good spot. Okay. Let's have the Pacers take a guy by the name of Ben Shepherd from Belmont.
Okay.
I like that.
Nice.
Sniper.
Surrounding Hallie with shooters. I like it.
Yeah, man.
He's a sniper.
Did Podziemski enter the Matrix or nah? I like Ben Shepherd though. Ben Shepherd definitely.
He did. AirPods did. He's talented. He's a little different. I'm trying to figure out how to translate him at the NBA level because a lot of the things that you love about him in his college film, I don't project to happen at the NBA. Like, is he going to be the main ball handler, able to post up and do these post pivot moves? I don't know if he's going to have all of that type of freedom. Maybe. So I'm gonna take Ben Shepherd, who's a little bit bigger, shoots the ball off the catch, and is used to playing in that particular role. But I do think AirPods is gonna be able to be a catch and shoot threat. Lefty
playing
smooth jumper.
They have bro playing like big man at Santa Clara.
Hell yeah, bro.
Nuts. Woo, my Clippers.
Jalen Brunson type.
First round.
You staying consistent?
I can't because new rumors have come out.
Really?
So I have to be a little different.
I respect
They
that.
might get Chris Paul. They might bring Westbrook back. So unfortunately, there is no
Chris
more.
Paul's a
slugs.
Laker.
Okay. I mean, maybe he's not. He said it's Los Angeles.
That's
It's two
facts.
teams there.
You're right.
So let's see. Let me look at the Clippers roster. They have a lot of stuff. You know, they got Powell, Gordon. They got the two-way wings, Marcus Morris, Batum, Robert Covington, Zubac. Those are the guys. Oh, Terrence Mann. Those are the guys on contracts. I think Plumlee's gone. I'm looking at Prosper as a guy I could pick up. He could be the backup big.
I like that.
Turk Smith could bring scoring to the guard position if they can't bring back those guards. Sasser also.
You know who I like?
Who you like?
I like Trace Jackson Davis here.
I just went to his name. That would be another one.
Kevin O'Connor likes him here too.
Should I steal Joel and Kevin O'Connor's answers? You know what? Fuck it.
You're not on your Maxence Prosper vibe?
Those are too smart, man. I'm going to steal the answer. I'm going to go Trace Jackson Davis here, bring in that guy. Solid.
Prosper would be good because I don't think Marcus Morris is going to be back.
I don't think so either.
Neither is Plumlee.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm going to steal Joel and Kevin O'Connor's answer. I'm going to say Joel said it first, so I'm going to steal Joel's answer.
And that does it for the first round. Now, to recap the picks, Wemby goes to the Spurs, Scoot to the Hornets, Brandon Miller to the Blazers, Amen Thompson to the Rockets, Cam Whitmore to the Pistons, Anthony Black to the Magic, Asor Thompson to the Pacers, Jarris Walker to the Wizards, Bilal Coulibaly to the Jazz at 9, Taylor Hendricks at 10 to the Mavs, Grady Dick 11 to the Magic, Jordan Hawkins to the Thunder at 12, Kaysen Wallace 13 to the Raptors, Nick Smith Jr. 14 to the Pelicans, Kobe Buffkin 15 to the Hawks, 16 Keontae George to the Jazz, Dariq Whitehead at 17 for the Lakers, Derek Lively the second to the Heat at 18, James Najee at 19 to the Warriors, Bryce Sensabaugh 20 to the Rockets, Jalen Hood-Schifino 21 to the Nets, Gigi Jackson 22 to the Nets, Noah Clowney 23 to the Blazers, Maxwell Lewis 24 to the Kings, Kobe Jones 25 to the Grizzlies, Chris Murray 26 to the Pacers, Jet Howard 27 to the Hornets, Leonard Miller 28 to the Jazz, Ben Shepherd 29 to the Pacers, and wrapping up the draft, Trace Jackson Davis 30th to the Clippers.
No one asked, but I will give you my favorite picks of the draft. I really like Keontae George at 16. That makes a lot of sense, especially given the fact that with their first pick, they went with Bilal, more of a guy that is a need defensively, but I felt like they needed a little creation. Keontae falls to them at 16. That is extremely firm. Derek Lively at 18, and then Chris Murray, 26. Very good picks right there.
What do you think about this mock draft, Pee Wee? Our first mock draft you weren't too fond of.
I wasn't.
Now you said
What
that
did I say?
Anthony Black at 4 is crazy.
Yeah, Anthony Black at 4 was a little wild. If the Rockets want to do that, they should just trade down. But pull it up again. Let me see it real quick. There's a lot of good picks that I do like. Every time I do a mock draft, it's so different. I just did one earlier today, and it was all over the place. That's the best part. But I do love the fact that the Lakers were able to get somebody that I think can fit, even though it was a little early. I do love the fact that Maxwell Lewis goes to the Kings. I like Anthony Black with Orlando. Kobe Buffkin with the Hawks is a really, really good pick. Kaysen Wallace with Toronto should be nasty since they keeping everybody back. He'll give them some size, some defense, and he'll be able to catch and shoot off of Pascal. Derek Lively with the Heat was a really good pick for a backup center. Gigi Jackson with the Nets is a good place for him to be able to have some upbringing slowly. And yeah, those are good ones. It's tough though, man. It's extremely tough. Grady Dick, question mark at 11. I know they need shooting, but Grady Dick at 11 just seems like such a early pick. But you know what? Those are the best picks. When teams say we don't care what you think, we have a guy we like, and it may be too early, but Cam Johnson to the Suns type ordeal, Josh Primo to the Spurs type thing. Sometimes you just got to go get your guy.
Yeah. Now, Pee Wee's only going to be staying on for the mock draft. We're going to continue the show talking about Bradley Beal and some more stuff. But Pierre, thank you for being on the show for the mock draft. You're always welcome on the Pick a Side podcast.
And before you go,
why did none of y'all take Imani Bates?
Before you go, talk to me. Is there anything you want to shout out? I know you were mentioning the tour. Talk to me though. What you want to shout out?
I just want to shout out that we're gonna be able to link up in Vegas, man. We're gonna be able to link up in Vegas. I can't wait. It's right around the corner, man. Once the draft happens, yeah, we there. It's a couple weeks away, man. So I'm just happy for that. John, are you gonna be there?
I'm not 21 yet, bro.
Oh, you 19?
I just turned 20.
He's been 19 for that long.
So.
He's our Jason Tatum. Yes. He's our Jason Tatum.
But no, I appreciate y'all having me. I think that was a good mock draft. I should have stayed with Noah Clowney, man. I should have stayed with him.
Man. Going against your guns. That's not very Pee Wee the Plug-esque, bro.
I hate that team. I hate picking for the Pelicans. I would have traded it. I would have definitely traded it. Package 14 with Brandon Ingram so my boy can go somewhere he's appreciated. You don't like that, huh?
We're gonna wait and see because last time you were on, or one of the last few times you were on here, we were talking about is Brandon Ingram closer to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, and my boy Jaylen Brown went and made All NBA. So put some respect on Jaylen Brown's name is all I'm gonna say to you.
Your boy also went and made a fool of his damn self.
Come on, Pete.
With that handle. Motherfucker look like Ari. I'm finna tell Ari in the kitchen, show me her left hand, and that shit gonna look just like Jaylen Brown.
One playoff series ain't gonna hurt my man's legacy. I'm not gonna let that happen. But listen,
I appreciate y'all, man. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right.
All right, peace.
Thank you.
Always, man.
Now,
with that,
I'll tell you what, man.
We're
that was a
exchanging
mess. That was a mess.
Two
Now,
different handsome men.
Joel Dehls.
What we are going to do next is that we're going to take a quick intermission. We'll be back in about 3-4 minutes or so, just to make sure that all the connections are right and we don't have any more mishaps in the stream for later for this stream. So we'll be right back. We're going to be playing the intro beat music until we come back. Okay, we are now back from the intermission.
Oh, Jesus.
Bro, didn't tell anybody.
Now I told you guys. I said we were gonna come back right now.
He clicked it right away, though. Didn't even give a second.
Yeah, no. I just felt like it was ready like 4 or 5 times they heard the loop.
They like the beat.
So let's get into these super chats right now. First super chat from Adrian Shake. Quick question for Riv. If the Bulls got pick 23, they own Portland's lottery protected pick, or traded Zach plus Caruso for 3, how would you feel? What would you want there?
What are you gonna do when you get RJ Barrett for Zach LaVine?
So I've seen a lot of it. The Bulls have reportedly came out and said good young player, a couple picks. I guess they want to start the rebuild. That's fine with me.
With RJ?
If they get pick 23, that'd be cool. We do have Portland's pick next year. Trading Zach and Caruso for 3 That would be pretty dope. If we get 3, that's fucking awesome. I don't even care what player we get. I think we should pick Amon if we do get 3. I would look at that because we do need a point guard because unfortunately Lonzo has degenerate knees and
It's devastating.
yeah, we're trading Caruso. But I think that would be amazing. Like that's an easy, quick way to get back into the rebuild. I would love that.
Let me talk to you. I have an offer for you.
You are
From the
the
Lakers.
I decline.
Oh,
So, like
not,
really
you're not
quick. You
picking
don't
up
have
the phone.
enough. You don't have no young players. I don't want.
You don't want.
No,
What if Reeves was in the offer, bro?
I'm really good. He's more built.
Remember
for
when
a-
you said you were good on Caruso and he came to your team and was one of your
He-
best players?
He refused to listen. Reeves is more good for a team contending than a rebuilding team, which is why I don't need him. I don't want him.
Let me ask you, D'Lo, sign and trade.
No. Why
Max
would I want to
Christie.
sign and trade for D'Lo?
Max Christie.
Max Christie, 3-and-D player.
I haven't seen him play since Michigan State.
Well, you missed some Laker minutes, bro,
A lot of
Good.
people did.
because they're casuals.
I guess. Yeah, no, the Lakers have nothing. I'm good.
You
I was
think
rather the
Beasley?
Knicks package.
Yeah,
Of course,
no, I understand.
we easily have more depth.
Yeah.
Santos, we do. You got more stars.
more
we have
picks.
They have
depth.
more young players. I
They're
think
more
that would
picks.
be
They'll give
willing
us
to
way more
trade.
picks than you.
Oh yeah, we don't have the picks to contend.
We don't
with the
need
Knicks.
2028. We don't have time for that.
Now,
It's actually 2025.
We don't have time for that either.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2
We need,
years.
we need that 2024. They got the. We need some whatever.
Santos sent $5, no comment, just supporting the show.
Oh, Santos.
Aramis Jones. What y'all think Brandon Miller's comp is? I don't want to hear the typical. Want like a real thought out perspective of who and why. Do y'all think he's gonna be a number 2, 3 in terms of a championship caliber team?
I think he has like Danny Granger, Rashad
Like that?
Lewis type skill set. I think he is more prone to a 2 or 3. I know wings they're supposed to be the number 1, but I think his game translate more to like a secondary role, like a Chris Middleton. You know, I think that's the type of player he's young. He's about to be 21. He can be better, but at first glance, what I see now, Chris Middleton, Rashad Lewis, Danny Granger, second or third best player.
And even if he reaches, like this guy said, he didn't want the typical answer, which I'm assuming is that Paul George. Even if he reaches those,
I actually don't see Paul George at all.
I understand that, but that just seems to be what everyone says. I like that answer of a Danny Granger for sure. Just his ability, obviously, to create offense for himself, has the size. So regardless of that fact, I think that, do I see him as a 1? I don't think so, but I think that definitely he could be a high level 2.
I think that Brandon Miller has been overly criticized in his draft process because
Fair.
people love Scoot Henderson. And listen, he's been the consensus number 2 pick for a couple years now. So now Brandon Miller comes onto the scene. They're like, how can Brandon Miller threaten the guy who was supposed to be consensus number 1 pick for a long time, unless only because it's for Wemby. That's why Scoot is not the first pick. But I hate to break it to some people. Scoot Henderson is a great prospect. I don't think he's this consensus number 1 pick in every other draft. In the draft that Zion was drafted, he wasn't going number 1 over Zion. He wasn't going number 1 over a Ben Simmons at that time. No way. Ben Simmons was that guy as a prospect. I don't know. I don't think so.
I think
He would have went number 1
Fultz.
over Cade, in my opinion.
No.
I think so.
No.
Yes.
We're talking about Markelle Fultz was a 40% 3-point shooter. Shot creation was off the charts.
I think he would have went.
He was Scoot with the jump shot coming into the league. He just forgot how to shoot, but
His
he
injuries,
was that
that's-
guy.
That's true.
I don't think it's no slight to Brandon Miller either. Like when we're talking about a guy in the top 2, 3, you like want them to be the number 1, but I mean, we're having conversations. Is Jason Tatum, can he be the number 1 on championship team? So just because Brandon Miller is going number 2 overall, I think it'd be more important for him. And it's hard because when you're that high of a draft pick, it's hard to fit a role because you're usually on a bad team. But it's more important for him to fit the role that he's going to be on rather than just be this absolute superstar that's going to be hard for him to turn into.
Markelle Fultz was an amazing prospect. He went over Tatum.
Scoot.
Yeah.
Scoot's
And
like
Lonzo.
the way they're talking about him. I think Scoot would have went over Fultz.
I think Scoot
It depends. I think either or.
He
You
had a
guys are
better.
saying generational too. Like Zion was
He had a better
generational.
physical
Ben
frame than
Simmons.
Fultz.
Yeah.
He was better on defense than Fultz to a degree. Nothing too crazy. The mid range was there. He didn't have the 3 ball, but he was more explosive. He was better at the rim. It's just the way Scoot is being talked about now. I'm assuming he probably would have went over Fultz. The
I
reason
think
why I say
either
no
or
to
is a
Cade
toss-up.
though, yeah, I agree. The reason why I say no to Cade though is Cade coming out of college as a prospect was not generational, but he was propped up really, 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 really
I think
high.
Cade
Like,
was over Fultz as a
Yeah.
prospect coming out.
Ooh.
I feel like Fultz was
But
looked at as a
Riv,
better
and
prospect.
how-
6'7" guard.
Markel's 6'4", 6'5".
Riv, let's talk 8 months ago. You were calling Scoot generational to yourself,
I agree.
correct? So that's why I say is that you just said not generational for Cade Cunningham, but what we've known for Scoot for some time now is that he had that generational label.
And people had
also.
Brandon Miller something going over him. And I
During
think
the
Cade
season,
is a better prospect than Brandon Miller.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying I don't know about that one. With Fultz, though, it's a toss-up.
Does he go number 1 over Andrew Wiggins in 2015?
No, Andrew was fucking Maple Kobe.
And that's what I'm saying is like, Scoot Henderson, he's a top 3 prospect possibly in most drafts. Probably in any draft, but to act like he's just the number 1 consensus pick and the only reason he's not going number 1 is because of Victor is a bit of a breach.
The real question is Brandon Miller a top 2 prospect?
I think Brandon Miller's a top 3 prospect, and I think
I'm saying in most classes.
I think in most classes he is a top 3 prospect. We're talking
like
about
that one with Fultz. I don't think he is.
Last year.
Probably not with the Fultz.
Jabari Smith.
That was him, Lonzo, and Tatum.
I think it's very close.
I think
it's
the
very
Fultz
close.
one. He's not top 3. Fultz, Lonzo, Tatum.
Nah, not that one.
Is he over RJ?
No. As a prospect?
No.
What?
It's honestly
not over Ja. He's not over Ja though.
No.
I wasn't gonna say Ja.
John. I mean, RJ and Brandon Miller would have been a legit discussion.
Yeah,
it would have been a legit discussion.
Yeah. I agree.
And if you favor shooting, you would have went with Brandon Miller.
Yeah, because there was a gap over that top.
I mean, it was a conversation between Jared Culver and RJ.
The right move there.
Jared had a run. Jared had a run.
All Knicks players had that idea. Yeah, we're getting RJ, and we're happy with it.
I'm trying to think of other.
No, it was, but Jared Culver was definitely in a discussion. There were definitely some Jared Culver fanboys out there.
Jared had a run.
Jared Culver was respectable in college.
He had a run. That's all I'm gonna say. He had a run in college.
RJ was pretty damn good in college.
No, RJ was. It was. I thought it was DeAndre
Hunter.
Yeah, I thought it was Hunter instead of Culver going over.
Now we knew DeAndre Hunter was gonna be what he is now.
Garland
was more the swing pick.
Garland was up there too.
Hunter went 4.
Yeah.
Garland went 5.
Garland went 5. I think so. It was like
other way around. One of the two.
All I'm saying is I think Brandon Miller's draft cycle has gotten overhated. It's easy to see how you can fall in love with him as a prospect.
Yeah,
you can nitpick his finishing numbers, but I don't know why every other prospect is getting the leeway of getting better, but Brandon Miller isn't. It's like, if Brandon Miller, if he doesn't put on weight and he doesn't become a better finisher, he's just like a 3-and-D guy, right? He's not like, if Scoot doesn't develop a jump shot, like you can say that for every prospect. I think Brandon Miller is a great prospect.
I agree.
And, there are shades of Paul George in his game, at least with the shooting, not with the wiggle and the ability to handle the ball. But Brandon Miller has some of that in his game, and that's why I'm high on him as a prospect. Santos goes, start, bench, cut, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, and Chris Paul.
Start, Kidd, bench, Paul, cut, Nash.
I'm starting Kidd, I'm benching Nash, and I'm cutting Paul.
Ooh.
I definitely can't cut Paul.
You're talking about a 2-time MVP.
You changed. Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard ever.
Chris Paul is definitely one of those guys.
I don't know what you're saying now. You changed.
But Steve Nash and him, what's the argument for Chris Paul over Nash?
I should ask you that.
Is there not an argument for Chris Paul over Jason Kidd? And I'm not saying that.
There's an argument for everybody over everybody, I feel like. With Chris Paul over Nash, I would probably take the defense along with the playmaking. With Kidd, though, he provides me defense. He provides me the all-around rebounding, the playmaking. He just doesn't have the shooting splits as like I don't think he's as good of a scorer as Chris Paul, but I think his floor raising ability is much better than Chris Paul.
The case for Steve Nash, I think Steve Nash is a better playmaker than Chris Paul. I do. I think he's a top 10 playmaker of our generation. Steve Nash has led multiple 60-win teams with the Suns, even when they dealt with injuries. And if it wasn't for a wild west that he was playing in, where he was going up against the Spurs, and those Suns even took those Spurs to 7 games. He wasn't going up against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers when they had formed their team, which was a really great team all around. Steve Nash came this close, and that's because he played in a great Western Conference. Chris Paul, as the lead guy, as the best player on his team, never made it past the second round. It wasn't until he teamed up with James Harden when he got to the conference finals finally, and it wasn't until he teamed up with Devin Booker, where D Book was the best player on that team, where they made the finals, and even that you can criticize their finals run. And I could say that the West during Chris Paul's Clippers era and beyond was not as stacked as the West in the 2000s. You only look at the Warriors as the Warriors in the West after 2010, or I would say after 2014, were the team to beat in the West. There wasn't a real second team that scared you like the mid-2000 Western Conference teams.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. No, then he had OKC, he had the Spurs, in front of him when he was with the Clippers, and even with the Hornets. He
After
had
2014,
2015, well, it was the Warriors and Rockets.
he was on the Rockets.
Yeah.
Riv, talk to me.
What's up?
Offensively, Nash or Kid?
Ooh, Nash.
Okay, so you're saying the defense is what puts Nash over both, not just CP3, but Nash also. You had Kid as a start.
I do have Kid as a start. I think he's the best
His-
all-around player.
His offensive efficiency. Listen, I mean, of
It's
course,
not good.
you have.
No, it's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
And as a playmaker, I know Kid has obviously the assist totals. You probably lean Kid slightly, but it's not like Nash wasn't one
I
of
didn't say, but why are you making it sound like I said it wasn't in conversation?
because you have Nash as a cut. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, but I said it's a conversation either way. You're making it sound like I said it's a clearing.
And who's the best offensive player of the three? I'm
Chris
wrong for
Paul.
saying CP3. Okay,
That was Chris Paul. Who's the best defender? Kid. Offensive player? Chris Paul.
It's
That's
Kid
Chris Paul's a better
definitely- I
offensive
was-
player than Steve Nash.
Because he can score, yes.
I think
would say
so.
Yes.
The efficiency with Steve Nash is off the charts.
That's
Unbelievable.
because Steve Nash didn't take a
Unbelievable.
lot of shots.
Yeah, but you were somebody that advocated for Steve Nash. If he would have taken
Just
more
like how
shots, he
you
would have
said
scored
Chris
more.
Paul was a
And
top
it's-
5 point guard all time. And now
I
you
think
don't have him in
I think Chris Paul is in that discussion for sure.
there. So then what are you
Can
talking
I
about?
just say that? But I think Steve Nash, given his resume and his playmaking numbers, they're better than Chris Paul.
I might
We're
have.
talking about player for player. Is Chris Paul not a better scorer than Steve Nash?
I don't think he's a better scorer than Steve Nash.
He is. I think he is personally. I probably would go CP3 start. I would bench. It's tough. I feel like I'm benching Nash, sitting Kid.
I think I'm different than all of you. I think I would start Chris Paul, bench Kid, cut Nash.
Okay.
So we got four different answers, I think.
We did. I know. Who'd you cut?
I think CP3 is the most complete.
You cut
It
Chris Paul?
depends. I mean, listen, Jason Kidd led 2 teams to the finals. Steve Nash has 2 MVPs.
Mhm.
The guy who's the less accomplished here is Chris Paul.
Yeah. CP0, right?
And he's the guy who,
They're
as
all-
the
they're all-
and he's the only one as the best player on his team has not went far
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it was routinely noticed for choking.
Before we move on to the next question, the Philly Voice is reporting that James Harden's more likely to return to the 76ers on a team-friendly deal.
That's nice.
Hot.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
That's good.
This Joel
No,
Embiid
Houston.
agenda's
I'm
alive and
not
well.
dapping for that. Fuck
Well, as
that.
long as Embiid has Harden, he'll be fine.
Wait, what are we dapping for?
For Embiid, the agenda.
We don't care.
Nah.
Not even once.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't care about an Embiid agenda. Harden agenda, I'm with you.
You lost me.
James Harden, baby.
You got to get
I feel like you have to. If you have a Harden agenda, you have
We're
to.
just
have
all
an
in on
agenda.
Philly as a whole. Philly.
that was a spit.
Philly unite.
So you're a Harden. You have to dap him. You have a Harden agenda.
But we have
They
to
go
dap as
hand in
I'm
hand.
Joel Embiid.
We-
You're James
So
Harden.
you're on the Maxi wave.
uniting. Course.
There.
Never hated on Maxi.
Yeah.
I just say he's a little
Losing me
inconsistent.
with all the Philly, for being honest.
But when he's on, he's on.
So, ironic if you say that.
Why do you say that?
Aren't you a hero fan?
Relax. When have I ever been a hero
I'm
fan?
axing.
The answer is no.
Okay, just making sure.
Though he might be better than Poole. Huh?
Cool.
I'm just chatting. I'm chatting.
Oh, too many guys. Too many guys with no rings. You keep saying it's better than Poole.
This
Get
from
outta
a
here.
Ramish Jones. If Brandon Ingram played more games, he would have made All NBA. Watch his games from the third quarter, fourth at the end of the season. He was playing like an All NBA first teamer.
Oh, for
He
sure.
had a career season and
I
upped
mean,
First
averages.
teamers OD.
Shout out to Pee Wee.
First teamer is pretty nuts.
First team is, but he was playing like all NBA player. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
But he just needs to do it for longer
He's gotta
than
go
you know.
so far with the
up to.
first team and then shit.
Yeah,
Tatum wasn't Tatum and Giannis first team.
Yes.
Let's be
You're
you're
beat.
And Santos goes, I won't be clipping any conversation on the Patreon episode, so y'all are safe.
Thank you, Santos. I should already be. We already had to clip some of it out.
Oh,
I'm dead. Keep that
Couldn't-
silent.
Now, since that's out the bag, probably should have mentioned earlier, but we are dropping Patreon episodes weekly. So if you'd like to support the podcast even further, you can subscribe to our Patreon. We have 4 tiers. There's a $1 tier. If you just want to get in for $1, you'll be able to access an extra episode a week and also be in our Discord server. So, it's a good bargain. And if you want to support the show even more, then you can always up the tier if you want that.
Yeah, not all the time we talk about sports on the Patreon. I know that there's times when you guys write in questions about just like personal stuff. That's more of the stuff we go over on the Patreon. So I would say it's like 10-20% sports and the rest is just like real life questions and just goofing around.
And before we go on to the next topic in the show, just want to shout out once again that we will be dropping merch coming up soon. And this is how it's looking like. I have the picture on the screen. Got the pick a side hat, pick a side shorts, and a pick a side shirt, all in that combination. So if you guys are interested, let us know in the comment section down below, and we'll be letting you guys know when we're dropping that.
Very excited.
The big
We're getting ready
news
for
bomb.
Vegas.
Hmm?
We're getting ready for Vegas.
I don't know. I
Okay.
have to ask Joey.
Okay.
We probably could. I can make that happen.
All right.
It's just that the shirts we have to see because I think that we probably would only be able to get one shirt, if they're not out yet. That's what he told me.
What do you mean? Like one
Like for
singular
example,
shirt?
like a sample shirt.
Got you.
We don't be able to get one unless it drops. Then we can get it.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I don't think. What are you doing? Well, I don't think all of us should go wearing the same pick a side shirt. That'd be kind of nuts.
All black.
Just like all four of us pull up in the same outfit. Kind of wild. So I think one's fine.
One wear a hat, the other wears shorts.
Yeah, one wear the tee. Facts.
Yeah, that's how we move.
So what are you trying to do, Drew?
What's going on here?
Mic is just not steady, bro. It's pissing me off.
What if you just don't touch it?
It's not my mantra, bro. I get really personal with my
Wow, how you do?
You're losing.
Very hands on.
Now, while Drew fixes his mic, we're going to talk about the big news bomb that dropped. And we already did a clip on it. It's on TikTok.
Went crazy.
Right? You know, the Suns traded for Bradley Beal. Now, is this a mistake or is it not? Dehls, you can go first.
Oh, I'm getting the floor. I do think it was a mistake by the Suns. Now, you can think two things at once, right? For one, they traded absolutely nothing to get Bradley Beal, right? It was Chris Paul, and was there even another player in that, or was it just second round picks? Landry Shamet, second round picks. I mean, for the caliber of player Bradley Beal is, it was a fleecing, right? Washington obviously wanted to get off his contract. They want to start a rebuild. Props to them. They should have done this years ago, but better late than never. They're finally starting their rebuild. And the Suns got a 30-point per game score. He probably won't average 30 with those two other guys there, but he's a great player. The reason why I don't think they should have made this move is not because of Bradley Beal himself. It's because of the future flexibility the Suns are really strapping themselves by having 3 contracts where you're going to be paying guys $200 million. And John actually had a great thread, Tortorelli, that is, on his Twitter today, kind of breaking down the different cap implications with the new CBA over the next couple of years. For this upcoming season, the Suns should be fine because they have bird rights on a couple guys. They do have a partial MLE. I don't think it's a full MLE, but a partial MLE. And they have, I think, a biannual exception too. So they'll be able to build out a roster. And when you do have Kevin Durant, who's, 36, 35 years old, he's really the only one I would say aging. Devin Booker's in his prime. Bradley Beal's still in his prime, although he's, over 30. I can understand why the Suns are going to go all in for this year and say, fuck it. We'll deal with those CBA implications later down the road. But you also have to understand, Kevin Durant is not always the most reliable player, right? So you're going all in for this really 1-year window because next offseason is really going to be when the CBA implications hit the Suns hard. And the roster they're going to have in the 2024 season is basically going to stand pat. So whatever issues we see the Suns have this upcoming season, it's going to be very difficult for them to solve them the following offseason because they're not going to be able to make trades and acquire a player who's going to be getting more money than the players are getting out. They're not going to be able to have those exceptions like a biannual or an MLE. They're not going to be in the buyout market. So any issues, and there's going to be issues with this team, they're not going to be able to fix. And for all the people who said it's fine, go and trade DeAndre Ayton. Who's going to be the big? Who are you going to start at center if you want to trade DeAndre Ayton?
Dale kind of guy.
He could give you some good bench minutes, but I don't want him starting at my 5. I mean, you over here want John Collins. So I think the Suns for this 1-year window, I really think if they do not win in 2023-2024 season, they're not going to win a championship. And personally, I would like to have more than just a 1-year window to try to win a championship.
Now, Dehls, here's why you're wrong. Right? Here's why you're wrong.
Here we go.
Too much emphasis is put on a team's future when they're trying to compete for a championship right now. The Lakers traded their whole future for Anthony Davis. Worked out well for them. And listen, not every move works out.
Didn't you say the LeBron tenure was a failure?
No, I said it was a success, but it's been underwhelming.
Okay,
it's been underwhelming.
Okay.
And that was before this run. Because this run kind of redeemed it. But yeah, they won a championship, so overall it's a success. They traded their future. Now, all the things that happen when you're over the second luxury tax apron, what are the things? You can't buy out free agent. You can't enter the buyout market and acquire free agents. What good players come from the buyout market consistently? This year it was Russell Westbrook. He already had his eyes set on one destination.
Was Kevin Love or was he traded?
No, he was buyout.
He was buyout.
Kevin Love,
big piece.
Kevin Love was a big piece, but at the time when we saw
good ones
last year when we saw Kevin Love enter the buyout,
Bucks, that was
nothing. Cody Zeller to the Heat, that was nothing either. most players that enter the buyout market, you're not going to get a real good player. The Suns got Terrence Ross from that. He didn't make any good. He didn't make a good impact for them. Now, this is the thing.
Reggie Jackson, NBA champion.
All the teams that
Terrence Ross to
the Suns, although they're going to be hit by the CBA, so will all the contending teams. Does that mean you don't put all the chips in to not win a championship? You have to. Ultimately, why this move was a good move, we're not sure if it's a success yet because they haven't played and this roster is still unfulfilled. You traded Chris Paul, who they were about to waive for nothing, and Landry Shamet for an all-star player.
Great
now,
move.
newsflash, the Suns won 2 games against the Nuggets in the playoffs. Those 2 games were without Chris Paul.
Is this going to be the new? Oh, the Nets were competitive against the Celtics in that sweep.
It's not just that, but it's the fact that
series was blowouts.
It was
the 4 games the Nuggets won, they did win by 10 plus points. The Suns had the Suns, the 2 games they won, Devin Booker went berserk. Kevin Durant for the series, he was way below his level.
2 years in a row now.
And you
actually.
can, 2 years. But listen, historically, I'm thinking that KD is going to turn around. It's 2 years in a row. Tatum hasn't been the best in the playoffs either. Neither is Jaylen Brown.
I knew it was gonna come.
Tatum
was
just
pretty
Tatum
good.
struggled.
Neither is
in the-
Jaylen Brown.
Tatum struggled in the
Now
finals.
listen here, Dehls.
But we're not saying he struggled for 2
listen
playoffs.
here.
He struggled
Now
in the
listen.
finals.
Now listen here, Dehls. Your entire argument is, well, the Suns. This is a mistake because they don't have flexibility. Is it a mistake to pay Jaylen Brown a supermax contract?
No, because you need 2 stars.
Okay, you need 2, but the Suns, right? Chris Paul was useless in the playoffs.
Is it a mistake to sign Jaylen Brown to the Celtics when that roster's already filled out? Is it?
But now listen,
The
Grant
Suns
Williams.
roster is not
Grant
filled out.
Williams is a free agent.
Restricted.
He can walk out. If
Restricted
you're
bird
paying
rights.
Jaylen Brown so much money over the course of years, you will not have flexibility. The Suns are making this move right now to go all in and win.
Yeah.
And they didn't pay anything for Bradley Beal. It was second round picks
I agree with
and
that.
first round pick
I'm with you.
swaps. We're talking about first round pick swaps. You're not even trading your first round pick.
They're not gonna
That's
even
just
get
the
them.
right to
No.
swap. So under the new CBA, when you're over the second luxury tax apron, you can't sign MLE free agents. You can't use the biannual exceptions. All the contending NBA teams won't be able to use those either. So the Suns aren't on at a competitive disadvantage. Teams that are over that apron won't be able to acquire buyout free agents regardless. The Suns are not at a competitive disadvantage when it comes to the competitive teams for that anyway. And then we're talking about like they in the first round picks, if you're over the second luxury tax apron, you can't trade first round picks 7 years out.
Yep.
The Suns don't even have first round picks to trade. So that doesn't affect them anyway. All these CBA rules, either they are evened out by other contending teams or it doesn't apply to the Suns currently. Now, the depth is a concern. I'm not saying that it's not, but ultimately the Suns got better. They improved and they put themselves in a better position to compete for a championship. All the problems the Suns had after acquiring Bradley Beal, the depth, the defense, are things they would have had if they didn't make the trade, and it would have been even worse because they would have had Chris Paul, possibly waived him for nothing, and Landry Shamet, somebody who he's not worth a damn in the NBA. Nobody's going to trade for him. So we're talking about they improved. Now, I want to ask you this. I know a lot about it. I know a lot is made about depth, and depth matters. There's no doubt that depth matters. I'm not trying to minimize depth, but the truth is, I think when it comes to the Suns, we are overvaluing depth and undervaluing star power. Why did the Celtics lose in the playoffs?
Jaylen Brown was a no-show.
Was it depth or was that the star player?
Star player.
That's the star player. Why did the Sixers lose in the playoffs?
Well, their depth also wasn't hitting shots against.
Yeah,
the
for
Heat.
especially those first 3 games for sure.
In Game 7, Brown didn't show up and Tatum rolled his ankle.
Yes.
If your star showed up, you win. Why didn't the Sixers win last year? Why didn't they beat the Celtics in Game 7?
Their stars didn't show up.
Their stars didn't show up.
Never does.
Why did the Bucks not win in round 1?
Giannis got hurt.
They just got outplayed.
That
Yeah,
is
they just
true.
got
You could say
outplayed.
Giannis showed up, but Chris Middleton was inconsistent. Drew Holiday was trash on offense and getting cooked on defense.
It was just they got outplayed.
Their best players ain't show up. But yeah, you're right. They got outplayed top to bottom. I look at the Warriors. Jordan Poole, one of the main players, didn't play well. Klay Thompson didn't play well against the Lakers. We talking about when teams lose, it's usually because the stars don't show up.
Can we look at the opposite this year? Why did the Heat go to the finals? Why did the Nuggets go to the finals? You have Jokic and Jamal doing their thing, but those role players played a huge role. On the Heat, oh my God.
Why did the Warriors go to the finals last year?
Exactly.
Using
was unbelievable.
Wiggins was amazing. Why did the Lakers get back to where they was? Their role players started to step up.
You don't doubt the two stars when they're at 100%. That's why here's the anomaly. Jaylen Brown was the worst that we've seen him in the playoffs. The best example is Joel Embiid and James Harden because those are two stars. But again, hurt. You do look at the other teams that had success in the playoffs. Their two stars were on, but really what propelled them to that next level was the depth and the role players.
Using the Heat as a case study on how to build a championship contending roster, especially with the year that we just saw, is a mistake because it's an anomaly year.
I can't do that.
It's Caleb Martin played at a level that we did not expect in the conference finals.
They beat the number 1 seed. They beat the number 2 seed. I cannot do that.
So we're saying it's something that happens once every 20 plus years. What the Heat did.
The Heat, what they did was an anomaly. But can we also say big threes where one of their players are injury prone? Winning is also an anomaly with them.
It is.
Kevin Durant is injury prone. Beal has been injury prone the last 2 years. Devin Booker just missed a lot of time for the first time in his career. That's also an anomaly with them winning. It's both ways. You could say the same thing.
So that argument that you're making is basically that if you form a big three, if one of them get hurt, you don't have a chance to win.
You're probably top heavy.
But that can be said for any team that goes to the finals. If the Nuggets don't have Aaron Gordon for this entire run, do they make it this far?
I mean, Jaylen Brown was terrible. We still almost won
if they lose Jamal Murray,
they probably go.
Aaron
Gordon was essential for them, no doubt. I still think they have a strong chance to make the finals.
You could say strong, but Aaron Gordon was the third most important player for them the entire playoffs.
MPJ was amazing.
I'm not just MPJ. He wasn't Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon got the toughest defensive assignment every single series.
He did, but MPJ
he locked up LeBron. He locked up LeBron. He did.
Oh my God.
I mean, but the Heat were missing their second or third best, player. The whole.
But Tyler Hero, he is somebody that's going to take away from the team, and even you can even use the argument that if he was there, the Heat would have had a better chance.
Take away in what way?
And you said the Celtics this year was an anomaly because Jaylen Brown doesn't play like this. Well, last year the same can be said. They didn't win the finals because of Jason Tatum. Their star player did not show up.
They went to the finals though,
but they did not win it all because their star player didn't show up.
The Warriors, their star player showed up. Wiggins and ascended to being their second best player. Jordan Poole elevated. Draymond Green's Draymond Green. It's like that's a tough situation to compare it to. But
the Warriors got Steph Curry, who's a superstar, and then the rest of the team is really good. I mean, right? You have Clay, Poole, Wiggins, Draymond. They're all fine.
NBA.
The thing about this big three is that we have the two stars in KD and Booker, and I mean the Suns, right? That role player now becomes Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal now becomes a player that has to come in and play a role, which before he was tasked to be the number one option in Washington, he was shooting 39% from three. He was playing good defense. So we're talking about a third option role player that is capable of dropping 30 every night, but realistically, he'll be around the 20 point per game average.
Yeah, okay.
All I'm saying is that star players are the reasons why you either win or lose. If they don't show up, you lose. If they show up, you win. You win those games for the most part. And given what the Suns traded, I mean, this is like, Drew,
I agree with you.
If the Lakers were to trade D'Lo and Rui Hachimura for Zach LaVine, would you not be ecstatic?
I would be shitting myself.
It would take away two of your depth players.
They have more than
for
5
LaVine,
players under contract.
But we haven't given the Suns a chance.
We have money. We have 38 mil to fuck around with so far.
We haven't seen the Suns. We haven't given a chance for the Suns to fill out the roster.
But they don't have right now negative.
If you're the Celtics right now, do you trade Al Horford, Payne Pritchard, and Derek White for Pascal Siakam?
1,000%. But they still have depth, even with losing those guys.
If they lose two role players,
you said Payne and Pritchard.
I said play. Derek White, Al Horford, and Payne Pritchard.
I just heard Al
for
Horford
Pascal
and Payne
Siakam.
Pritchard.
Marcus Smart. Does that mean that Malcolm Brogdon's gone?
Brogdon's most likely to be gone. I mean, this is a different world we live in.
The Celtics right now, we saw in the playoffs, they're 7 to 8 deep at most. After that, it gets really thin.
The Nuggets just threw out a 7-8 rotation too.
And that's what the playoffs it is. And that's why I'm saying the Suns don't need a roster of 10 plus players that can play high level playoff minutes. They just need a little bit.
Once you get to the conference finals,
you already have 4 players. You have 4 players in KD, Booker, Beal, and Ayton who are already they're good NBA players. Cameron Payne is a good rotation player. I think he's a bottom level rotation player,
He's a good
but
rotation
he
player.
can give you spot minutes here and there. And I think people will be surprised with Jordan Goodwin. Now, I'm not saying that the Suns are going to be over here. I'm not saying they're going to be favorites to win the championship. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that given the circumstances the Suns were under, this was a no-brainer move. And although depth is important, historically in the playoffs, you either win because of star players or you lose because they don't show up.
That's I don't know, man. This is obviously, they traded nothing for something. Like when you trade nothing for something, in theory, it should be a good move either way. But you don't need 10 deep for the playoffs, but
Never.
you need a good roster for the regular season, especially when your players are injury prone. Like one guy goes down. We seen with the Nets, Kevin Durant went down. Kyrie couldn't hold the fort that long. Kyrie went down. They were fucked. Same thing with the Pelicans. Zion was good. When Zion was the number one, BI was down. They were fine. When Zion went down, they lost like 30 games out of their
And when
next
the Nets
35.
went down, they dropped to the 7th seed because of that. They played Boston round
Yeah,
one.
and that's like when you lose your stars, like for the playoffs, yeah, obviously for the most part, primarily it's on your stars. But in the regular season, an 80-game season, when you lose your stars, that depth becomes way more important. You saw with the Memphis Grizzlies, they lost Ja Morant, and they don't miss a beat in the regular season. Obviously, in the playoffs, you need your star, but in the regular season, you kind of need those guys in the back end to fill out that rotation and kind of be ready to win those games. As far as the Suns in the playoffs, as long as they get there, I think they'll be fine. As long as you have about 7, 8, because that's usually how teams run, 7 to 8 deep. As long as you got that good 7 to 8 deep, that's fine. But the problem is your 7 to 8 deep is possibly going to be Cam Payne, Torrey Craig, and DeAndre Ayton. That's not ideal going up against a team like Denver. I think and I don't know, because even you like the Suns in the Nuggets series, Kevin Durant didn't play at his best. Booker was historical. It was a close series, but it really wasn't. Every time Denver won, they beat the shit out of the Suns. And when the Suns won, it was a close-ass game. Like, it wasn't really close for the most part. So, I think it was a good move. I think Beal brings a lot to the table. He can play make. He can play off ball, on ball. He can get to the rim. He can shoot the ball. He can play as a catch and shoot. He brings so much. Like, he brings what 2 to 3 role players can bring. The problem is Kevin Durant's on the back end. He's how many games is he going to play? Devin Booker, you cannot have Devin Booker having historical performances and your role players not hit shots. Who are they going to bring into the roster? Obviously, we have to see who they're going to bring in with these new additions. Will Ayton be a new guy? Let's say if he does stay on the roster, will he be a new guy next year? Will he be able to protect the rim? Will he be able to hit the pick and pop shots? Will he be more aggressive? That's another thing. Ayton is a negative at this point because he does not bring that value that he should be bringing at that position. But if Vogel can change him, that's a huge thing. But if they trade him, who are they going to get back? Because his value is pretty low. I think they have to trade him by July 1st, if I'm not mistaken, before the CBA start kicking their ass. But I don't want to say they have a 1-year window because you can sign guys this offseason for a couple of years and they can stay on the roster. But the thing is, and this is why I think Dehls is trying to say, if you sign these guys and they don't pan out this year and they're stuck on the roster, you don't have many wiggle room to change the roster next year. And if you don't win this year, you walk in with the same roster next year, it's going to probably be the same issues that lie from the year before. And that's the issue. But I think for the most part, you traded nothing for something. That's a good move in itself. Will Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker work? In theory, yeah, they're all pretty much really good off-ball players, and they all can play on ball. So I think they will work. But now you're pretty much lacking in the depth department. I guess we have to see how the roster moves out. But I think all in all, you traded Chris Paul, who was practically useless. He couldn't do nothing for you at this point. And Landry Shamet, who wasn't good. You got Bradley Beal. You got a steal. It's just about weighing out this roster. And I don't even think they need to go get a point guard. I think Devin Booker or Bradley Beal can play the point guard position. They can play off each other. So I think that's not a big issue. The issue is Kevin Durant. He's getting up there in age. Can he be that elite defender for you? In spots, yeah, but for a consistent time, we don't know. Can he? Because now he's officially the best perimeter defender. Well, no, let me not say that. Devin Booker is also up there, but he's the best defender in your rotation. Kevin Durant's the best defender in your rotation. That's not ideal, especially at his age with his injury concern. DeAndre Ayton, is he going to be able to defend the rim? Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, can they give you that defense on the other end while outputting that offense? It's going to be a lot of questions with this team, and that's what usually happens when you're top heavy. But all in all, it's Bradley Beal. He's a really good basketball player. The contract makes it like we shit on him because of the contract, but take the contract away in the vacuum. Bradley Beal is an all-star level player. He's a really good player. So good for them for making this move.
So multiple things can be true. You look at this trade, it's a very good move for the Phoenix Suns because they gave up chips. and got dollars. You understand what I mean? It's you got a very strong upgrade for what you gave away. That's a W, absolutely. You have a big three now: Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. On paper, that is extremely attractive. But then once you start to take a deeper look into it, you understand that Kevin Durant missed some time from these last couple of seasons. He's bound to maybe miss a quarter of the year. Then you look at Devin Booker. This is the first time this past season where we saw him miss some time. Last season, Bradley Beal also missed some time. The year before that, he also missed some games. The rest of this Phoenix Suns team, because right now they have 8 players under contract. So you have Kevin Durant, obviously, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, who I believe will be traded to try and fill out the depth of this team, especially for the fact that there's been issue with DeAndre Ayton and Phoenix Suns, but that was mostly predicated from Monty and DeAndre Ayton. They got rid of Monty. So maybe they're trying to, you could look at it from the lens of they're trying to reconcile that relationship. But I think in order to fill out the rest of this roster and not put yourself in cap hell, DeAndre Ayton needs to go. Then you have Cameron Payne, Jordan Goodwin, who was in the trade with Bradley Beal, Ishmael Wright, and Isaiah Todd. The players that they could bring back due to bird rights would be Darius Baisley, Torrey Craig on early bird, and Jock Londale. Other than that, and Bismack Biyombo. Other than that, those are the players that would be on the roster as of right now. The worry with this Phoenix Suns team becomes defense. Offense is not the worry. They're going to put up points very easily. You now add Bradley Beal, who Riv just went through it. Can play make, obviously can create for himself. Is a bucket, just brings a huge amount of offense. Not a bad defender by any means. Booker showed it this playoffs. He's a solid defender. Kevin Durant has been known, or not as acknowledged as maybe it should be, but of course, great rim protector, solid defender himself. But other than that, especially if DeAndre Ayton is on the trade block, potentially may not be on this team, I worry about the defense. I worry about the defense because this team, just with the lack of depth, that just becomes the main concern to me. Offensive creation, offensive output will never be an issue for the Phoenix Suns so long as those 3 guys are on the court. That's a huge question that we have to be fair with. Are these 3 guys reliable to stay on the court for a majority of the regular season? Let me not say all of it. That's unfair. Of course, players will miss time. For a majority of the regular season, will they be ready for primetime playoffs? Because that's essentially what the Phoenix Suns are playing for now. So, Joel, I'm with you. I think this is an obvious great move for the Phoenix Suns because you gave up minimal to get a huge reward. But in terms of the bigger picture, this team already needed depth. You add Bradley Beal, of course, that's an upgrade, but the rest of the team becomes a concern when you realize that the dollar situation is such a strong one that Phoenix simply is struggling with right now.
The bigger picture is a championship, is it not?
Absolutely.
I think this puts them in a better position to win a championship.
It depends to me. We still have an offseason. There are moves to be made. I'm not counting that out. But as of right now, the 3 reliable pieces, let me say 4 reliable pieces that I feel like most definitely will be on this team. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Amazing start. Campaign?
Ayton.
I don't know if he'll be on this
team.
team.
Right now. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
He's not. Based on value, he's not. And you can't attach a pick to him to get more value out of it. So it's just
I don't think Ayton as your 4th best player is a disaster.
Not at all.
No,
I don't. And I think that Monty,
team, in your opinion,
you just wish he gave you something other than being an offensive center. You wish he could bring the defense and the physicality and the rebounding because you already have all the offense.
But listen, that's the thing with DeAndre Ayton is that I've seen that before. I've seen that in the 2021 playoff run when he wasn't on bad terms with Monty. Monty overplayed his stay in Phoenix. And
I can't use that excuse, man.
It's back-to-back years of him not showing up.
NBA player, you got to go out there and play. You're playing for a championship.
Not even outworking you.
When you don't want to play for a coach, it lingers on.
But that sounds like that sounds like a DeAndre. That sounds like there's gonna be more problems with Ayton. If he's getting paid $30+ million, your team is trying to win a championship, and because you don't get along with the coach, you're not trying your hardest to win.
Guy mentality.
That just tells me there's gonna be more issues down the line with Ayton than the coach is gonna fix everything. There might be a problem with the teammate next year.
Is the same shit going on?
Monty, but where is leadership with Monty Williams and obviously picking favorites? We knew that Landry Shamet was useless the entire playoffs, and he still put him out for 20+ minutes a game.
Like Ayton was useless too, though.
There was moments in the Denver series for sure. There were. I'm not going to act like there weren't, but
it's not just a Denver series. This has been back-to-back years of Ayton just in the second round good in the playoffs.
In the Maverick series, it was one moment that it happened. That was the final game of the series. That was game 7 where Monty didn't play him much in the second
Nobody
half,
showed up,
and they
let's be
threw a
honest.
fit on a bench. It wasn't an entire series or entire
It was
playoffs
moments in
kind
that
of thing.
series where he looked like
I'm-
he was getting out
I'm
punked, outworked,
looking-
and out hustled.
I'm looking at DeAndre, and I'm thinking that I've seen him play at a level that I think he's capable of playing at. Now, I'm not banking on him playing at that level, but I think a new coach can come in and get something more out of DeAndre than Monty got later down his tenure. Now, the whole thing with the Suns is that this is the reason why I don't think it's a mistake, Dehls. I laid it out. They got better. They're in a better position to win a championship. If they would have not made this trade, Chris Paul is getting waived or is getting traded for nothing. Right now, the Wizards are trying to trade him to the Clippers, and the Clippers are probably not trying to trade much for him anyway.
A plain question to you. They got better, agreed. Did they get better than the Nuggets?
Probably not.
Until they haven't not played basketball yet. I can't answer that question.
We're having conversation.
But I told you, but I will say,
Did they
I
get better
don't
than the
think they
Nuggets?
got better than Nuggets.
Okay.
I don't.
All right, that's very simple to me. So then you made this move. Why? To be better than the Nuggets, correct? Or to try and at least be better than the Nuggets?
In this offseason, how many teams in the West will make a move that's big enough to where we're going to say they're better than Denver?
I don't think
Maybe 2 teams.
I don't know if there's any move unless there's a real
Phoenix,
superstar.
one of them. Lakers. I'm not even being biased. That's just a sincere truth.
In the
and
4
that's it.
games they played, they lost to Denver in the playoffs. All 4 of them, it was more than double digits. But I want to be fair.
It was double digits.
Games 1 and 2, Denver outplayed them. Really, it was the second half. In game 1, it was the second half run where they kind of got away from Phoenix. Games 3 and 4, Phoenix won
Yeah, they
those
won at
games.
home.
But the Nuggets were in those
They were.
games, and Jokic was putting on performance after performance.
They
those
were
was
in
the
they
overtime game?
were in those games. No Chris Paul. And Landry Shamet, I think he had one game where he had like 5 threes. He
You
was a
think
big
Chris Paul's a
factor in
scrub
that.
anyway? He wouldn't have done much, was he?
I don't think he would have. But
in the game,
there's one thing that's true. Without Chris Paul's presence, they were able to play at a much faster pace, which helped them win those games. And games 5 and 6, if you guys don't remember, in game 5, Devin Booker in transition going for a jump shot rose his ankle. After that ankle injury, he did not play well again in that series. In game 5, he didn't play well. In game 6, he didn't play well. And because Devin Booker was out there with one leg, basically, because he had a hobbled ankle, the defense collapsed on KD further, and he wasn't able to do much because there's no other good players in the court. In game 6, the starting lineup was KD, Booker, Shamet, Cameron Payne, and Jock Landale. I mean, the last 2 games, yes, they were washes, but there was reasonings for that. D-Book got hurt when he was going. I think in that game, Devin Booker started like 6 for 6, and then he got hurt. And then in game 6, the lineup out there was KD and Booker and scrubs. That's what it was. And now
So what if the lineup is KD and Booker and Beal
and Ayton.
and scrubs?
Wait, game 6 was the same lineup as game 5.
All right.
Ayton didn't play game 6.
No, it was just Ayton. But
So what if that's the reality this season? It's Beal, it's Booker, it's KD, and scrubs.
To me, that's a better chance to win than Landale, than Shamet and Campaign.
I don't disagree at all with you. But the whole point to make this move, to put yourself through this cap hell, is to compete for a championship. Not just compete, to win the whole thing.
Now
And
listen,
if you don't do that, then
Cameron
this
Payne
move
had
was for
30.
nothing. Not Campaign.
it was garbage time.
It was.
Now listen here. DeAndre you think he's going to get traded,
I
right?
believe so, to fill out the depth.
Now let's look at these 2 hypothetical scenarios. Scrap that. If we're managing the Suns and we're sitting at a table and we're like, what's our best options to get this team better? Like, how are we going to win a championship? Do we not do what they just did and trade for Bradley Beal? If we're managing the Suns and we're finding out a way, because we're like, you know what? We can trade Beal, then we can trade Ayton. Now, Indiana.
Trade Beal and Ayton?
No, we can trade. We trade for Beal, then we trade Ayton to another team. From what I've read, Indiana is still kind of high on Ayton. Rick Carlisle has always been high on Ayton. Now, of course, if he goes to Indiana, we know the return they're getting is Miles Turner and maybe somebody else.
That's attractive.
So if they get Miles Turner and a TJ McConnell or even a Buddy Hield, now we're talking about a team that can compete.
I would not do that deal.
His value is not even that high. It was
Especially
that.
if
We're
Turner
thinking of
just-
last year's summer where they was thinking about that.
Turner was
right now. His
Turner had a
value
really
is
good
not
year.
high to get both of them. unless they had a pick attached to it, they can't.
They
Both
can't
of
do
them's
that.
a little. Wait, let me not say a little. It's definitely pricey.
McConnell's
The
your best bet
TJ
if you
McConnell is,
even
I
have
don't
that.
think is a
TJ,
reach.
okay.
No, I mean,
Especially if
Buddy
you
and
attach
Turner.
if you attach Cameron Payne to the A and deal and get McConnell. McConnell fits Rick Carlisle's scheme, and then you get Miles Turner who can space the floor and is a better defender than A. And now we're talking about a team that, you know what, it's starting to shape out. Now, I think this was the first step in other moves the Suns are about to make this offseason. And I think as a first step, this was a great first step. All the takes about the lack of flexibility Phoenix will have, well, what contending team has flexibility, really? Like the Nuggets. The Nuggets might not bring back Bruce Brown because he might have outpriced himself.
Well, usually when you even are a contender, it's typically not a lot of moves you have to make. Like the Celtics are talking about trading Malcolm Brogdon.
Retool.
But exactly. It's like making a move here or there to fix the one or two issues you had because you're already a contender. You're already a great team. And when you had your first monologue, something that stuck out that you said was that all of these other contenders are going to be in the second, luxury cap, whatever you want to call it, the apron. But outside of the Celtics, we know is going to be in it because they're going to pay Jaylen Brown. The Nuggets will be in that apron as well because they're going to have to pay Jamal Murray in a couple of years. Other than that, we don't know what teams are going to be in the apron. The Heat, they have a lot of old players. They could retool at any time. The Bucks have a lot of old players. They could retool at any
I
time.
think the Cavs will be in there.
I was
The
going to say the
Cavs,
Cavs are
facts.
another one. They have money.
The Bucks have zero flexibility.
They don't.
I know, but I'm
Bucks
saying
don't.
next off season, they could retool. Who knows they're going to run back with Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, especially if they come up short next year. So all of the only teams I see who are definitely going to be in that second apron are right now the Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Suns. Anyone else, they're going to be making moves because either the roster's not good enough, the roster's old, they need to retool, rebuild some teams. Those are the only three teams. So even the Warriors too. We don't know what's going to happen with Clay and Draymond, right, and Poole. So those are the only three teams we know pretty confidently will be in that second apron. We don't know how the rest of the league is going to attack free agency and contracts once this goes into effect. Really, next offseason for the restrictions.
I think that's
Clippers
even
too.
worse for. I think that's even worse for the other
Paul
teams.
George.
I think what you just mentioned is a nightmare scenario for other teams. I think the Bucks, giving Giannis that much money already, Middleton, I think, is one of those guys that is like a lifer in Milwaukee. He's probably going to get an extension. Maybe he doesn't, though, right? Their team is old as hell.
It is.
Their team just got smoked in the first round.
And Brooke is a free agent.
And they're
Unfair.
And they're probably going to bring those
Could
guys
happen.
back. But if they bring those guys back, they have no flexibility. Drew Holiday was just talking about retiring. Now, even if you take Drew Holiday's books off the contracts, they ain't much players. Contract off the books. They ain't much better players you're going to find in Drew Holiday for that Bucks team. There's not.
I agree.
There's not. So those are big question marks. I just feel like with the Suns, we are heavily criticizing their question marks when every team that's trying to contend and compete for a championship has question marks that are probably just as grand.
Just make it real quick. Do you think Drew Holiday said that statement so that he wasn't in trade rumors?
It could be.
Because Drew easily could be a name that could be in the package to acquire Damian Lillard. That's the only reason I say that, because he's saying, hey, I'm just going to play my contract and then I'm going to retire. Then any team that would be trading for him has
want Drew.
Drew's a piece that you can respect.
Contract's up too.
You think that
money.
you think that only
Expiring.
Gotta get Dame though? You don't think they have to attach
you
somebody
got to
else?
give some pieces.
Give
You
a
got to give
ton of
picks.
picks.
So
that you
if
probably
that
don't
if
have.
that happens, I mean, the world's gonna go crazy at the trade, and I guarantee you they're not gonna be talking about the depth
But
shit
that
like
does,
they are with the
but that
Suns.
does allow some flexibility.
Giannis and both Dame on their contracts, they're not gonna have nothing.
Yeah,
to
those
work
are
with.
two of the highest paid players in the league.
But you still have what a Grayson Allen as a role player. That's fine. Pat Connaughton as a role player. That's fine.
That's
I
like
get it. These guys are
17
role-
mil right
You
there.
probably won't have. You won't be able to bring back Brook Lopez. That would be unfortunate. Depending on the situation with Chris Middleton, we're gonna assume that he comes back in this situation.
Honestly,
It's not the worst. Bobby Portis is another one.
yeah, facts.
I'm just saying the Suns question marks have been brought to the forefront, and nobody ever talks about the good sides of the trade. Where
It's just because
Every-
their team's not filled out. That's why.
every offseason, I mean, we don't know who's going to be the champion the very next year. Nobody believed in
What's your
the and
guess?
I don't know.
Are we all going to roundtable sit here and say the Nuggets? Is that your guess right now?
They're
I
the
mean, I
favorite in
guess
the
that's
West.
the easy guess. Yes,
Yes,
because we
agreed.
haven't seen teams play yet. But right, like nobody picked Denver to make the finals, let alone win it. Even before the playoffs started, I mean, people was talking about an 8th or 7th seeded team beating them in the first round. That's how Denver was being talked about. So I am just pushing back on people thinking that the Suns signed and sealed, not winning. That's it. Like, I don't think it's that easy because with the Celtics, you have question marks of, well, now Jaylen Brown has really, our eyes have opened about him and defenses have opened on him on like, this is how you neutralize this guy. Jason Tatum has not shown for an entire playoff run he can be the true number one guy.
Yeah,
those are question marks with the Celtics.
Those are
Jason
different.
Tatum was pretty damn great.
Those are different because Jaylen Brown had the same question marks last year when the Heat did the same exact thing. He just wasn't.
I'm not letting one playoff.
And then on top of that,
Boston,
Boston, even with the same question marks, probably every year they still go back. And
We're
do
going
the
to the
same
ECF.
thing. They're going to the ECF at minimum. With Phoenix, they went to the second round. They got smoked out. Question mark was depth. They went to the second round again. It got smoked out again. The question mark is the same question mark. The difference with them in Boston at least bare minimum gets back to the Eastern Conference Finals or back to the finals, and then the question mark is like, all right,
can you get over the hump? Can
I
the
think
star
this-
player just be better?
Yes. Yeah.
I think this playoff run, the question mark for the Suns was depth. When they lost to the Mavericks, I don't think it was depth. Chris Paul, after I think game 3, averaged 5 fucking points.
Yeah, no, he wasn't doing
He was
shit.
an ass.
Yeah, he's old.
And
Shit.
Devin Booker wasn't that great in Game 7.
The more we
either.
talk about it, it seemed like the Suns were damned if they do, damned if they don't. This roster just, I mean, even if you don't trade for Bradley Beal and you run it back, I agree. The options out there to get the depth, of course, there's guys here and there, but this roster, once they gutted it for Kevin Durant, and it's Kevin Durant, you make the deal, I get it. But by trading 2 of your best role players and trading basically all of your draft picks, that makes it very difficult to have any sort of role players. And bringing in anyone, you're just hoping that they're going to be able to outperform their vet minimum or their $4 million on MLE, whatever it might be. So this Suns team, although getting Bradley Beal is great, I think their bigger issue was once they made the Kevin Durant trade, that was most of their depth there, at least their best role players. So I think either way you looked at this, if they didn't make the deal, we're probably still going into a next offseason and say, can these role players perform? But now we're going into it saying, how are they going to have a 15-man roster?
Maybe I'm crazy, but I think if they don't trade for Kevin Durant, they're in an even worse position right now.
I don't. That's why I don't disagree. But that's just the other side of making these superstar trades.
Just a first round exit.
Are they in a
maybe
worse
second?
position?
I do.
I think you still have Mikal as a future piece that you probably look to be one of the foundations of the team you want to build for the future. Cam Johnson is a solid role player. You still have your 4 first-round picks. I'm not sure off the top of my head if they gave away any second-round picks. But at the minimum, you can use the draft to continue to build to this foundation. Still have Devin Booker as your cornerstone piece to build this franchise around. And then, of course, Mikal Bridges and continuing to hope that he progresses the way that we have seen him so far progress in Brooklyn. A matter of, is DeAndre Ayton going to continue to play not to his standard? Is he going to start being aggressive on the defensive side of the ball? On the offense side of the ball, he's going to be a little bit more consistent. Is he going to start playing with some heart? And I agree with Riff here. What's their ceiling right now? Last year, they were eliminated in the second round. That team obviously was good enough. You probably would have said their ceiling was a WCF.
I think the ceiling is a championship this year.
I mean, I thought they could have gone to the
I think the
finals last year.
Suns.
You know, I can't say that their ceiling is a championship.
I'm banking that the roster will be filled out, and I will be moved by the moves a little bit. This about I don't think they'd be in a better position though, because Mikal Bridges I don't think becomes the player he became if he stays in Phoenix.
That's a fine statement.
The DeAndre Ayton problem was still going to be there regardless.
But now that Monty's gone, now that's another situation.
Yeah, maybe he gets better, right? But let's just say the Chris Paul Shamet. Let's just say they still make that move, right? You have Beal, Booker, Mikal, Cam Johnson, and Ayton. Would I rather that, or would I rather Beal, Booker,
team.
KD, and Ayton?
I'd
rather Beal, Booker, KD, and Ayton.
giving you 80 games. He's a elite defender.
Two-way, yep.
Cam is going to be there. You got Beal.
You gave away no first-round picks
still have
to
picks
acquire
to keep
Beal.
building that
Cam
bench.
Johnson had injury concerns getting traded, and a big reason why
He's a solid role player.
the Suns were the first seed in the West before Booker went down. The reason why they dropped from the first seed to they were almost in the play-in area is because Booker got injured, but so did Cameron Johnson, and he missed a lot of time, and he's somebody that doesn't stay healthy throughout the course of the season. So, I mean, it would have been the same thing because we just saw Booker get hurt this past season. Bradley Beal, I don't think, has played more than 65 games in the last couple of seasons. Mikal Bridges is the only Iron Man there, and DeAndre Ayton. But if one of those guys goes down, you're still looking at a team that would drop in the standings. So I think that while you can question the Suns' injury, health, and stuff, I mean, that's just the risk you run when you have an older team. With the Bucks, it's the risk you run when you have Chris Middleton. With the Lakers, it's the risk you run when you have LeBron and AD at this point in their careers. So that's something where like it's a concern for Phoenix, but I'm looking at the glass half full and not half empty. So I'm looking at it like, you know what, I think now with more offensive firepower, you don't have to work as hard offensively. And if the Suns do bring in a staff that is able to develop prospects, then you have something there. You know, Miami, we're not
on hope.
But that's every championship run.
They kept pick 52, right? But
they do have a second round pick.
Kevin Durant has played 35, 55, and 47 games in the regular season the last 3 years.
I was being kind when I said
a quarter facts.
That's rough.
It's a tough look, man.
Yeah, Mikal, you said it too when you were hyping up Mikal to the Nets. He was averaging 20 points on the Suns.
Like 83 games
with Booker being out. Yes.
So, but that's the thing you said too. Hey, if Booker's out and Mikal and Ayton are the two guys you got to rely on, are we going to see a continued Mikal Bridges?
Bradley Beal in the last 3 years, 60 games, 40 games, 50 games.
Last 2 years definitely been disappointing. Yeah.
Last 2 years have been disappointing.
The 60,
that's fine.
40 then 50.
No doubt. But I mean, even
Washington.
then, they weren't winning games with Mikal and Ayton out there.
I mean, Mikal was on the Nets. They really weren't winning games.
Yeah,
either, so.
That's why for me, I think the Suns made the right decision. And I think they'll fill out this roster nicely. Like, listen, I understand the CBA is going to come in and it's going to kick their ass in their flexibility. But I think that's going to happen to every single team that is competing for a championship. And that's why and the teams that usually compete for championships are the richest owners in the NBA. And that's why all the rich owners are like, man, fuck this CBA, because all of them are going to get affected by this.
Only the Clippers could figure that one out, huh?
I mean, they're rich. They just got an injury, bro.
Yeah, I know.
This is nuts.
So they got the richest, probably.
Yeah, I mean, like, it really just depends on who else is on this roster. Right now, I like the idea. The idea looks really cool. I think it would be really fun to watch these 3 play. But, like, in terms of, like, championship, all that good stuff, you just got to wait and see what the roster looks like. You know, I'm not even going to entertain the Suns Nuggets because it's going to be a new team, new roster, all that. So, at this point, it's just really looking at this roster and see who they bring in, right? They got Campaign. They'll probably bring him back. Then they got and we'll see how he looks. Devin Booker, KD, Beal. The thing with big threes is they're so every team is hindered on health, but the top heavy teams are more hindered on it because you lose one single guy, it starts to look extremely different. So we'll see how it looks, though. I think it's going to be fun, you know, and I'm hoping for some more big splash moves. I think Beal solves a lot of problems, but I don't think offense was as bad as the defense in that Denver series. And Beal definitely doesn't fix that, but he fixes definitely the offense.
You just need a couple. You got to hope a couple guys want to ring chase. You get a couple guys on vet minimums. I mean, the Lakers, I really think the bubble Lakers should be the,
blueprint.
Exactly what this Suns team could do. And it's hard.
But what we did was so
because
tough.
You're signing the vet minimums and they're outperforming the vet minimum
Rondo
contract.
was not supposed to be the high level Rondo that he was.
Although played Westbrook.
Playoff Rondo is real, but he wasn't supposed to be that again. Dwight was unbelievable. JaVale was unbelievable. Kuz, obviously we drafted him. He played an amazing role. KCP did a great job in his role.
Not even them. Okay. We watched the Clippers role players do some real dangerous shit in that
2
first
years ago,
round.
right? This
year.
Facts.
Like Norman Powell going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Westbrook was going. T-Man had his moment. Zubac had. So you have just good role players that, in that series, it wasn't as competitive as you wanted it, but without your 2 stars, they tried to make it as competitive as they
made it as best competitive you could.
Powell had a 40 ball. The Suns defense needs some work, man.
I think something that you mentioned is that, against Denver, the defense was horrible. Everybody's defense was horrible against Denver. The Lakers were the best defense in the playoffs when they faced Denver, and Denver made it look like they were one of the worst.
Jokic just made AD look bad.
So I think from that thought process, if you're Phoenix, you're just like, listen, Denver, they're going to score. We cannot stop them. No team can stop them. We just got to keep these games close so then we have a chance in the final couple minutes of these games to seal it, and we'll trust our stars at that point. And that's what I think the thought process is. But listen, man, I think that Phoenix has gotten the short end of the stick. And I think it's a combination of the Suns are disliked, Devin Booker's disliked, KD's disliked. So any move that happens within that realm is
Devin Booker most definitely is not disliked.
Like people like
Devin Durant for sure.
KD for sure. People love Luka. Luka and Devin Booker definitely have a rivalry. So people will try.
It's not a rivalry.
It's not.
It's not a rivalry.
We've seen Devin Booker.
Who's
I
got that
think
brand?
Luka.
Luka's got it. Yeah.
No,
the
Luka.
60
No, you're right.
60 clip.
You're right.
I think D Book is he's probably not mainstream disliked, but there's definitely a
Well,
Mavericks fans dislike
Kevin
him.
Durant's disliked for obvious reasons. And then when that report came out that he wanted this move, it just made it much, much, much worse than what
Should
it
have
was.
kept it under wraps.
I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but
I mean, it like
Kevin
there's no way
Durant is super team.
there's no way they make that deal without Katie signing off on it.
The final thing I'll say is that the reason why I'm higher on this move is because of the coaching change. I think Monty Williams has proved that these last couple of playoffs, he gets outcoached badly in series to the point that, like you said, a Clippers team with no fucking stars were taking them distance. Now, I think that's concerning. And
that's Ty Lue,
Yeah, I
man.
saw that.
what's that?
Sorry. Irrelevant.
That's Ty Lue, man.
I think Monty Williams has been outcoached. He got outcoached by Jason Kidd. And this year in the regular season, Jason Kidd kind of showed his colors that, you know what, he's probably not that great of a coach. And then in the final, and then in the finals run, I mean, every team they went through was hurt or hobbled. So I don't know if you can really judge that on that. And in the finals, they were up 2-0 and you lost the next 4 against Mike Budenholzer, a notoriously bad adjustment changing coach. So I think Frank Vogel, I trust in his coaching. I do. I try, and even though the defense might be a concern, I trust Frank Vogel in game planning on defense for a series.
I don't disagree at all. He was scapegoated in LA. We needed someone to blame, and we blame Frank Vogel. And that
a
was
lot of times,
unjustified.
I think the benefit of looking at it is a lot of times, yeah, Vogel had the personnel, but he did work with Roy Hibbert in Indiana, who was an elite defensive big, so maybe he can bring some of those tools. He had some elite defensive bigs in Lakers with Dwight.
His lineups were great.
Yeah, so a lot of that, he can maybe bring that energy, bring that knowledge to DeAndre Ayton to make him better as a defender on the defensive side, because he's coached some really great defensive bigs.
Definitely. And the year that he got fired, he wanted
Your
to.
roster was stinks.
It was bad, and then also he felt like he didn't have the freedom to pull Russell in the stretch of fourth quarters because, of course, he was being there was so much money allocated to Russell that it felt unjustifiable. And then he struggled with that and ended up in us resulting in a lot of losses. And so, again, we blame Frank Vogel when in reality, the roster construction just wasn't there. Even in the year after the bubble where LeBron was injured most of the year, there was a stretch where the Lakers were still the number one defense, and it was Anthony Davis and Schroeder and other players that weren't that good. I mean, it wasn't a great roster all around, and you guys still were the number one defense, one of the worst offenses, but you were the number one defense in that stretch. So that's why I'm high on Vogel. But ultimately, you guys are right. I think a lot of these players have to outplay their contract. Like the guy they just got, Jordan Goodwin from the Wizards, he has to come in and we got to look at him like, wow, he's actually really good.
Gonna get 20 minutes.
We got to, the guys that they bring in have to outplay their contracts. But when you're playing with star players, it makes it easier to do that a bit when you're on the court with them.
Goran Dragic, you need him?
Not at this point.
I mean, like these are going to be your options, dude.
They said, Joel said the Jordan Goodwin tape was fired.
I like
he lost
Yuta-
me with the Isaiah Todd shit because I looked that up and he played the 40 minutes. It was nasty.
I like Yuta Watanabe.
That's a good
on the
pick. He
minimum.
can shoot the three
That'd
ball.
be
He can
lit.
shoot the three
Stanley
ball.
Johnson is a good pickup.
Not bad.
Stretching it with that
Not
one.
bad.
but Yuta's
He's
tough.
not bad. Gives you some size.
I like Austin Rivers.
Okay.
He's a heart and soul kind of guy.
No comment on that. But
Gonna
Yuta
get
Watanabe is a vibe.
Josh Richardson could be an option.
That's not bad either.
Take some dumb shots, but it's not bad. This is what you got to work with, man.
And who knows if Dennis Smith
Good
Jr. could take the minimum. Dennis Smith
you
Jr.
praying on that.
Listen, I think Dennis Smith
praying
Jr.
on
with Frank
that.
Vogel, he will lock up.
That'd be a good pickup. I just don't think it's gonna be.
He's praying on that right now. He's hoping to God.
And I'm pretty sure they don't have the mid-level exception, but if they do, what if John's just telling me no?
Don't they have like a partial?
They wouldn't be able to use it. It would take them past the second apron.
Yeah.
They would have to get like 155 million
Mhm.
by clearing Ayton in order to use them.
So you guys.
So they have to trade in to use the MLE. So if they could trade him and then use that can boost the roster. But listen, man, a player in need of redemption
Here we go.
on a team that's an underdog. I mean, Dylan Brooks
You'd have to pay him.
There wasn't the report that he's gonna get 17, 18 million.
from the Rockets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if he's
He's
on
the GM.
if he's on this team, though,
Aiden,
if he's on this team,
Dylan Brooks is not gonna sign for the minimum.
I mean, you could sign and trade. Tell him send him to Memphis. Aiden to Memphis. Get Adams and Brooks maybe.
So
what about Aiden for Adams and Tyus Jones?
That would be great for the Suns.
yeah, I don't
that's
know
a
why
lot.
the Grizzlies
Memphis is
would do
like-
that.
Why do we need him? Steven Adams is tougher.
Yeah.
Notable players who declined their player options.
Gary Trent.
Fred Van Vliet.
He sent it in.
My bad. Frick.
Fred Van Vliet declined his player option.
Most of these works.
Draymond Green and Kyle Kuzma. The notable three.
Makes sense.
Players that picked it up so far, it's only been Gary Trent Jr. for $18.6 million. And yet to make a decision, James Harden, Chris Middleton, Porzingis, Josh Hart, Bruce Brown, Jordan Clarkson, Dante DiVincenzo, and THT.
Those all come up within the next week or so. To make a decision.
Danilo Gallinari opted in.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's the last 6 million whoever get.
Danwell,
he's gonna play this year.
It's Danwell House. Daniel
House.
Daniel House.
and Otto Porter.
Yeah, fleecing to the Raptors.
Should opt in. Yeah.
No, he hasn't played. I don't know how we got 60 games out of him because I saw his game log before
the
that.
only-
Yeah,
It's literally Wizards. He played a decent amount early on.
but after that, it was like 20 games,
Bro.
8 games, 30. I don't know
I saw
how we
Frank
got
Voodoo.
60 games
Frank
out of
quoted
him.
that
But
and said that. Who's the name of your is your athletic trainer? I'm assuming that was his name because
Yeah,
only he would know.
I was like, I have no idea who the fuck this guy is. Frank knew it. He had to Google it. Had to.
Frank knew me.
No,
No,
the trainer. Because he pulled some name that I've never heard in my life.
Maybe what's his name? Maybe I might know.
I'm about to look it up right now.
I've been
Rick
pushing.
Celebrini.
Don't know who.
He
that
goes,
is.
Rick Celebrini is a
It's
magician.
like, who the fuck is Rick Celebrini?
It's like, he must have Googled it.
Yeah,
bro.
so-
No, but the game log's crazy. I'm sorry, Joel, and I'll let you go. In Chicago in 2018, 2019, 15 games. Next year after that was Chicago, 14. Next game after that, 25. Goes to Orlando, gets traded, only
Fucking
plays
voodoo.
3 games. Golden State the year after, 63 games. Gets paid. Goes to Toronto, 8 games. What the fuck?
Otto Porter has always been an injury-prone player.
I don't know how we got 60 out
when
of
he's
him.
healthy, he's good.
I don't know how we got 60 out of him, bro.
He is a good player. He's
He is.
serviceable.
Hell yeah.
I remember when the Nets were about to sign him to a max contract, and then the Wizards matched it.
They did.
Yes.
And then they said,
The Nets got saved.
don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you.
He's been getting his bags and just kind of like, damn,
I
I've been hurt.
respect it.
You know, something I do want to talk about when it comes to the Wizards is that they're getting a lot of shit for being a horrible organization, which they are. But the Bradley,
move.
the Bradley Beal deciding to pay him
Give him the no.
was not the current management. They fired their old management. The current management are the ones that are like, you know what, we have to bite this bullet. We have to go into a full rebuild. So I'm gonna give this new management, led by Travis Schlenk, some time to
Need time.
to start this rebuild
start.
up and see what they can come out
It
of it.
starts Thursday. This is their first
Yes.
opportunity. They have the 8th pick.
No Johnny Davis again.
Don't fuck up.
To be honest with you, bro, they're gonna get a good player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe they
Sure.
could, maybe they can't.
And
What do you mean by that?
Porzingis has a pretty good number on that option. I don't remember.
I think he's gonna
There's
accept.
like
Yeah.
a firm 10, 11.
It could be on some shit where
It's-
they'd be like, Asar and Hendricks is there, and they take Hendricks. They fucked up. That's how I look at it. I know, I
Porzingis
forgot.
is a player that
that's
definitely
fucked
they
up,
could
bro.
trade.
He's gonna have a ton of trade
sorry.
value.
That's the only way you would
I would love
understand
for
about it.
Boston to.
Or if
get
they
involved
have
in that.
Case and Amon and they pick Case.
But if
Going back to the
Jarris
Knicks.
or Thompson there and they take Jarris, you're okay with that?
No.
Okay, then. Are you
I don't,
feel like they
I don't
have to
think the
swing for the
Wizards
fence.
need a Jarris.
They don't.
No, they have. I feel like they have
Ah.
to swing for the.
You wanna
fence.
know why?
They need
Because
any best player
if the
available,
mock draft
'cause they
that
could
we
go
just
anywhere.
did happens, they need Jarris.
It is BPA. I understand Jarris is. I love Jarris, but it's going to be severely disappointing when they draft Jarris in year 1. He gives you like 8 points per game, bro.
I don't disagree.
No, like I think they need a swing for like a
Defenses.
guy that can just get buckets.
Because this roster right now
They
is
need
depleted.
All-Star.
I mean, if you want a bucket, you go get KG. Just go have fun with that shit.
You're not even kidding,
But
though.
yeah, no, they should get out.
You think they reach for Jalen Hood-Schifino?
No. I think that if it depends on who's there. Like,
Would you be shocked if
I'd be
Deontay
shocked if they
would
pick.
go?
What if they pick Grady Dick? I'd be like, whoa, whoa
David Lou.
What are you doing? Yeah, no.
They already have Corey Kispert.
Yeah, he's a good player. They should.
He is a
I
good
was
player.
rebuilding with the Wizards on 2K, and my team was I traded Kristaps Porzingis and I signed Christian Wood, so he's my center.
Of course.
Christian Wood is a great building block. We're starting a rebuild center.
In 2K.
because he
Yeah.
tends to do shit when it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's gonna give me 20 and 10.
He's an all-star
But
with the
I
Rockets, right?
drafted Cason Wallace, so my
Mm-hmm.
team was Cason Wallace, Corey Kispert, Denny Advia, Christian Wood, and then my 2 guard.
Number one pick.
Again.
I started Johnny Davis.
Ugh,
Yeah,
that's-
number one pick.
You're definitely in the rebuild.
That's what they
stage.
should go for. I mean, this the goal for this Wizards team.
I mean,
is
Denny
get
Listen, I'm
out of
not
the
giving
house.
up.
playing out.
I'm not giving up on Johnny Boy. just yet.
Denny Advia has really great playoff tools. Like he can be on a playoff team. He has as a connector, as a passer, really good defender. He makes the right decision. Offensively, though, as a shooter, it's just It's not ideal, but they have a lot of guys that can contribute to a playoff team.
If Porzingis opts in, which he probably will,
Trade him.
you're gonna get more for Porzingis than you just did for Beal.
Trade him to Charlotte.
Easily. Trade him to Boston.
Okay.
Get Porzingis to LA. What the fuck
Oh
are you
my
guys
God.
talking about?
Okay.
When does it stop?
It never.
He's coming back to the Knicks.
Nah, Porzingis is a Heatle.
He's the Heatle.
What the fuck? Porzingis is
Mm,
going to the Heat.
That's cool. Who are they giving up? Hero?
Hero. Yeah.
See ya.
That's a big ass front court.
I'm
It
starting
is.
my Kyle
That's
Kuzma to
tough.
Sacramento agenda. I think the Kings pick him up.
I'm cool with that.
Because offensively, you could space out Porzingis.
No, yeah,
We had
I'm
this
with that. I'm with that.
conversation, yeah.
And then Bam hit you with the little.
Let me ask you, Porzingis to GS. You're in?
No.
You're
They
out?
got Looney.
38 mil. We got. You heard it. Nah, bro. I don't want. No, Looney will start forever.
You think Draymond's coming back?
I think that's the big out of all of these.
I saw he was
options,
with
he's the
LeBron
biggest
over
one.
there in
France,
He's
right?
a sicko. Yeah, no, he's a fucking sicko,
That's my
bro.
Twinsky, bro.
No,
So
he's.
relax.
I'll be honest, bro. If he goes to the Lakers, bro, he's done.
I don't.
Like,
That's not the move the
I'm
Lakers
gonna
got to make.
go full circle with Draymond Green, man. It's gonna be nice.
You don't want Draymond, do you?
me, of course.
You're gonna
Draymond
have-
AD would be OD.
Yeah, but you're gonna have 3 guys who can't shoot.
It's okay, bro. We need playmaking. We're gonna be continuously
he's
moving.
he's
We're gonna have some fun.
But yeah, I think once he realizes the market isn't that big for players like him, and the money isn't going to be that big outside of us, I think he'll eventually realize.
Maybe he goes to Detroit and he wants to mentor some
my
young
God.
guys.
Hey, I'm a Detroit fan, so
He should not now.
They
Bron's
can
gonna
pay
go
him a
back
lot.
to working on his jumper this
Detroit
season.
can't pay. You
Watch
think
it.
they would though?
Ben
What,
Money.
I don't
was he
think so.
shooting from the regular season from 3? What was it?
Like
Because the
32.
playoffs was disgusting.
32.
No, the playoffs was
Yeah,
nuts.
And the regular season wasn't any better. I'm
No,
willing
it
to
might have been
bet-
better.
I'm willing. No, the
Regular season might have been better.
maybe,
than the
maybe,
playoffs.
maybe.
He was.
I don't know. He saved face in game.
Yeah,
game
but
4.
he was doing shit like he'll miss 3 and take a heat check, like and then don't go in. It's like, yo, bro, he like,
I love when he
listen,
does that.
yeah,
to me.
you're sick.
I can't wait until Darvin Ham rolls out the lineup of LeBron, Vando, Draymond, and AD in the
Oh my
playoffs.
god.
Nobody would score, but
Nah,
they
we're not
wouldn't either.
doing
But yeah, it's
Nah,
gonna be.
he already pulled Vando from a lineup already just
Yeah.
because he couldn't shoot.
Does he count as like good depth since he can't play in the
Vando?
playoffs?
Yeah.
certain teams, like he played against Memphis a lot.
He definitely counts as good depth going into this offseason because there's work to be done. He can improve as a jump shooter. I think that's the
LeBron and
optimism there.
Draymond shot the same from the 3-point line in the regular season.
I was
Holy
gonna say something to what you said earlier.
Huh?
Riv said earlier, you know, the Grizzlies have great depth. We know that, and without Ja, they win games. But I mean, they're not true contenders.
No. Oh,
The Grizzlies.
That's because their stars aren't there yet.
correct.
I think that's what it is. Like, you know, their guys Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. and shit.
So if James Harden goes back to Philly, that means Fred VanVleet's not going there, most likely.
Most likely, that's a
Is
fact.
he taking a pay cut? though, you said?
Fine, we'll take him to.
They said Harden would be on a team friendly deal.
Did he
has
do
an
that
option,
like 2
right?
years ago? Like last year? Team friendly?
You know, if that happened, you want to know what happened if Harden took a team friendly deal? Nick
LA.
Nurse
Oh.
sat in a room with him,
I need to relax.
Chopped it up.
and Nick Nurse basically just chopped it up with Harden, and he was like, "Listen, this is what I want. This is what I'm trying to do," and then Harden just bought in, and that's good for them because
Now
that's
that's a
it
great sign.
increases their.
Harden's a team player.
He
And
is.
he realizes the generational
So if
talent
he's
that
a
is
team
Joel
player, why the
Embiid.
fuck does he keep not showing up?
I was just trying to.
Because it's
be nice.
selfish.
It's selfish to show up.
Oh,
It's
It's
selfish.
selfish to drop 40 and win. Like
He
did
wants
in game
Tyrese
1.
Maxey to get his shine.
Tyrese be cooking, man. Pay him.
Make Tyrese the franchise guard.
I'm with it.
But I seen this video of
Trade
Nick
Embiid,
Nurse.
2K every time.
He was talking to like a crowd, and he was saying that before he got to Toronto, you know, they were known as playoff chokers and stuff. And after game 1 of that playoff run, they lost to Orlando, and Orlando was an 8 seed at that. Oh, no, they were 7 seed, and they lost game 1. And Nick Nurse sat Kyle Lowry in a room, and they both talked, and he basically just motivated Kyle Lowry to play better. That's what happened.
Man, I thought he really was. I thought he was.
You hate Nick Nurse.
Listen, that's a
Worst
motivator
coach
guy.
in the league.
If Harden,
You had an
if,
hour
Hard,
screaming match
Yeah.
with yourself.
if Harden's going back, I got no choice but to root for Philly.
Oh my god. So
I
that
got
40-minute
no
monologue
choice.
was just a waste of air.
This guy
Good views.
legitimately.
Good views. Facts.
No, he is
We're sellouts.
shameless. Not me. Lord knows I'm not a sellout. I'm
sellouts.
sorry. I will not have that on my name. No, thank you.
James Harden, wherever he goes, I'm going, no matter who's on the
I
on the boat.
respect that. That's one thing I can
That
respect.
is something I respect.
Because I'll do the same thing. Because if PG go to Portland, boy, we here.
If PG goes to
What was a home run and then
Yeah, home run, put my bag on, we go.
oh bag. Okay.
can't even say
anywhere.
that.
If he goes to Taiwan, I'm going. I will be watching the Taiwan League. I don't care. It's my guy. If he goes to the Lakers, unfortunately, I throw the jersey on.
tough.
Lakers Nation.
He goes to Boston.
I'm here.
Wow.
I'm here.
Is
Wait,
Boston your least
I
favorite
was gonna
team?
say Boston Lakers.
What was your least favorite team?
Is he the Lakers?
It's not the Lakers. No,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
anymore.
It's 1,000% the Knicks.
Love
okay.
that.
So PG goes to the Knicks.
He was
I'm
a Cam
He
Reddish
was,
fan. He
he
was a
was.
Knicks fan for a little
Yeah, I
while.
will put the hate down if one of my guys go there. It's definitely Cam fan, but Tibbs,
Ja Morant got a 25 game
I
suspension.
thought you was gonna say 25 to life.
That's how the NBA be treating him. That's how the NBA is treating him. I mean, really, that's
Oh my
I
god.
thought you was about to say
like we could turn a
25 to
joke
life.
into a real life. That's facts, bro. The way that they're treating him is like he committed a real.
What's
act.
the what's the
I think,
stuff he has to do to make sure like it all goes smooth? Is like other incentives.
He's definitely has steps to, I'm sure, go
It's a
through.
25 game suspension, and he
thought it
basically
was
he
gonna be
can't be
6.
around the facility. He can't play in any public league. He has to just stay at the crib,
He's
basically.
playing some. He's much on probation.
He's going to Rucker.
Can't play pickup.
Like
can't
I
go
don't
to
think he
Rucker
could
no
play
more?
like in the Drew League or nothing like that. Like he
He's on
can't play.
probation for the NBA.
On house
I mean, he
arrest,
still got
sounds
that
like.
hoop in the backyard. He used to work out in. I think
And he's gonna lose about $7.5 million.
Yeah,
from the
bro,
suspension.
He's not gonna be able to
tough.
make all NBA this year. It's gonna hurt.
that's not that bad though. He'll make it back. He'll make it back.
Be careful now.
Woo!
I think this was a reasonable amount of games, reasonable
Yes.
suspension.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be
More
more.
would have been. Listen, I agree with you. You're not the only person to say that. I thought it was going to be more due to the conversations that were being had, but 25 is the most
You
that
seen
I'm
the,
okay
the
with.
NBA board was very upset by the decision.
To
That,
suspend them in general.
well, no, that he got. They wanted more games.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
They wanted more games.
The
So now I
players
understand
No,
it.
not the players.
Oh, the
Yeah,
I got you.
suits.
Suits, the
Yeah,
execs.
they wanted
I
more.
thought 25 was valid though. I mean, when we had this conversation, we were talking like 40, 50, but I feel like that was more
That's 'cause
us.
he got 15 the last one.
Yeah,
I
we
thought
were
it was
expecting
half
the,
the
we
season.
were expecting the NBA to come in and really lay the hammer down. It wasn't us saying he deserves this. We're just saying you kind of said fuck you to the league. We think they're really gonna, hit it hard. But 25 is valid for
I think
a
25 was
non-violent
valid.
crime.
Him
because-
using him making a video showing that it was a toy gun too.
It's crazy.
That was
yeah.
prime petty,
It's crazy.
but understandable because a lot of people are throwing dirt on
It
this
could be
game.
a different gun.
No, you're so right. You're so,
So
right. There's no
easily.
reason why you
So
shouldn't be doing it.
easily.
But again, I thought it was trying to find humor in it.
Trying
It
to
was
save
yeah,
face.
exactly.
I think that the NBA did this strategically because I think if they gave him half the season, there's going to be more talk and dialogue around it. There's going to be more debate about it. It's going to bring more attention to the situation. I think the 25 games is kind of like, this is what you get. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're fine.
What about the
Move on.
comments Ja made or his camp thinks that the NBA is out to get him? I thought that was hilarious. How is the NBA out to get you when you're posting guns on social media? You're out to get yourself.
Yeah, no, he definitely has
No
made
comment.
some. He's definitely made some questionable decisions, no doubt about it. Out to get him.
What are we doing?
It's a
I
strong
think that's
statement for the
sad.
fact that I hate it.
I think that the reason why it's sad is because it is kind of showing from his camp that there's no accountability on what he did.
Perfect.
Facts.
And given the political climate, like it's not just about the NBA and what he did. It's about where we are currently in society and how big of a debate gun control is in this country right now. So I think
I don't want
it
to
makes
get
it even
political,
worse.
But you guys know me. I'm not a supporter of guns by any means. So that alone, for me to say that Ja did nothing wrong, he did not commit a crime. Let me say he didn't do nothing wrong because, of course, the league has rules. Did not commit a crime. There was nobody hurt due to his actions. And as someone who is not in support of guns, for me to support Ja, he really, really would have had to have done something outwardly bad for me to say, hey, he deserves this half season suspension. He deserves a full length season suspension. Because it was what it was, there was no way I could have been in support of that.
Now Trishan Prashad goes, comrades, which console do each of you rock? John 2. I'm a PS5 guy.
I was gonna say I'm a big Xbox fan.
Big Xbox.
PS5. My shit just broke.
John, what
How
do
do
you
you break?
What do
a
you play, John?
PlayStation?
John's Xbox.
It just stopped turning on.
A PlayStation 5 just stopped turning
I
on.
cleaned it.
You
and
still have
it's
your PlayStation 4 or Charles' old one.
Yeah, stop.
You're welcome.
PlayStation 5 is the wave. And, I was watching Through the Wires video where they were interviewing the top prospects. Every single top prospect, we're talking about lottery pick, was like, it's PlayStation 5. It's PlayStation 5. Every single one of them.
They
in a
definitely,
row.
they definitely
bro.
have the
There's nothing next gen about
the individual
Xbox.
games,
There
like
was
the
nothing next gen about
Spider-Man,
it.
God of War, Last of
Xbox
Us.
doesn't
all
have
on.
Spider-Man?
No, it's PS5
Damn.
exclusive. Yeah,
Pain.
Oh, let me
That
ask
was
you.
a great
You guys
ass
wanted
game.
to play MLB The Show. You have to pay for it, right?
Yeah, we bought it. I bought it.
Oh, how
It's
funny!
free on Xbox.
Free.
Congrats!
It's free
you got
for Xbox?
a baseball
You guys
game
have
for
Halo?
free?
Halo is
Halo
like mid
fell
now.
off.
Yeah, it's not
And you
even
know it
like a
did.
good franchise.
I'll be honest. If I could just bring the PlayStation games to Xbox, I just can't stand the PlayStation.
Same thing with me. If I
controller.
can bring the
Mm.
Xbox games to PlayStation, I'd be lit.
They should just make it all because MLB is made by Sony. That's why for so long it was PlayStation exclusive.
Bro just tried to front because he had a free baseball
I
game.
didn't front.
You did. You just did.
I just
How?
don't like the
I
controller.
think that
It's too small.
Forza is
You said you
Forza
guys
also
get it for
exclusive to
free.
Xbox.
Yes, they
Fuck
hype
you.
up Forza every year. I've
You
never
get
played
Ragnarok.
it.
Forza's
God of
mid.
Forza is free. I've never played it.
Forza's
You don't
mid,
get God of
bro.
War, right?
Huh?
You guys
No.
got God of War? Ah, you're fucked.
No God of War, no Last of Us.
No Uncharted.
no
LLLL.
Spider-Man.
You don't
They
have
did
Last of Us?
On Xbox?
We do. It's on Game Pass.
You're lying.
Oh,
The
you
second
just
one?
got it.
You don't have the
Positive.
second one.
Nah, I don't think. I'm
Maybe
almost
I'm wrong.
positive
Maybe I'm
Last of
wrong.
Us
Hey,
is
maybe
You
I'm
exclusive.
didn't cook.
Hey, listen. All I know is that I can get Halo, which is arguably the greatest Xbox game in the
Halo
history of all
2 and
time.
3, yes.
How about
When's the last time
these?
they dropped the Halo?
The recent one, Halo.
I mean, I never really played it.
Halo
I've never
5.
been a big fan of Halo.
Yeah,
never
me
played
Halo
it.
3 is probably the
You're probably a
greatest. Halo
I just
3 is
don't
probably
like
the
how you
greatest
control the
game
gun.
I like the what I want Forge mode. What'd you call it?
Yeah, that's
Forge,
exactly
the Forge
it,
mode.
bro,
That was
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Nah, bro. Halo 2 on Halo 2. Only the real know about that. Ghostbusters hide and seek. Take me back right now. Hours played that fucking game.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side podcast. Now, before we go, two major announcements. We are dropping merch soon. Hat, t-shirt, and shorts. We're going to have it both in black and white. So stay tuned for that release. We'll keep you guys updated. And we just dropped a Patreon exclusive episode. You can support us on Patreon. Link is in the description. Now, you can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.